Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Sean Bell.
Hello.
And the main one, Matt Murray.
Hello.
Yeah, we got a new theme. Deal with it. Deal with it, yeah? Yeah? Deal with it.
How many complaints do you think we're going to get?
Loads, mate. It's going to be a fucking nightmare. I'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are the Full Nels crew. Aaron Patrick, Full Nels. Anthony Oakenson, Full Nels. Simon Nelson, Full Nels. Thomas, Full Nels. Jack Oven, Full Nels. Moomin Biscuit, Full Nels. Richard Sawyer, Full Nels. Full Nels. You can help support the show, and seriously, it's been such a big help these past few months. So thank you to everyone that signed up at patreon.com/TCGS. There's various different tiers there, various different benefits. That was our Full Nels crew. Thank you so much for your support. We really, really do appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing with it. 200 patrons.
Yeah,
it's
unbelievable.
It's been incredible.
I feel like we should do something to celebrate that. But given that we've just had 200 episodes and fifth birthday, whatever it was, I feel like we've had a lot of birthdays, a lot of celebrations recently. So maybe not.
And maybe we should tone it the fuck down a bit.
Yeah,
right?
Calm down. We're not that good.
We'll wait for the 500th or the 1000th patron.
Matter of time,
still, we have got something else to celebrate, haven't we? We've got a rebranding. No prizes for guessing who set all this up.
It was James.
Rebranding going on. we've got a new theme, and do you want to? Because I still haven't wrapped my head around it. Matt, do you want to go through what's changing and why?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, this show is obviously still called the Computer Game Show. That's not changing. But well, we started out as just a podcast about games, which we still do and we still love doing. But then since then, Sean's done he does his monthly cooking streams. James and David have done Star Calls, and it feels like, and we also do streams and stuff, and it feels like to have all that under the Computer Game Show banner just feels weird. And so I felt let's put us on something which makes sense and it's a bit less descriptive. And so, yeah, what we as a collective are now TCGS. I know, again, those people have been calling us that, and we've been calling us that as well, but it's sort of been like an acronym for the pod.
Some people have been calling us TGCS, to be fair.
I thought we'd always been this. I didn't know what... This isn't new.
Well, TCGS was just the acronym, wasn't it? But I think more commonly people have called us that as a collective.
So what does TCGS stand for now then, Matt?
Well, it still sounds for the same thing, but it's like IGN.
Okay.
Like, who remembers what IGN stands for? It's like Imagine Games Media, but So anyway, but people just refer to us like how they have been up to now.
Network, presumably, not.
They're not called IGN. Like I said, no one remembers. So I just thought it makes sense to have like a bit more of a blanket umbrella brand.
So it makes sense. Is this a couple of questions? I've got for you. Is this because Xbox said we're just Xbox now? Is that what started this?
I mean, if we're going to take branding lessons from anyone, it really shouldn't be Microsoft in 2020, should it?
Was that what started this, Matt?
No, this has been on the cards way before Xbox said they're just Xbox.
And can I get the marketing decision correct? You don't want us to be called the Computer Game Show because, we do a lot more than just a computer game show. You want us to be TCGS, which stands for the Computer Game Show.
Yeah, basically. I mean, this pod's obviously still called that, but as a collective, it's TCGS, and yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a massive change, but it just makes sense to have that as a branding rather than with a computer game show. Here's a cooking stream. Here's a podcast about Star Wars. Yeah, right, it makes sense. And plus, it meant when people we could change the branding, update the theme song.
When we changed the theme song, thank you to Nick Parton for that. Who sent us a bunch of stuff.
Once again,
we spoke about it on the bonus show. But yeah, they sent us a bunch of tracks to choose from. We sort of had a whole voting system going within our WhatsApp group, and then just as we were about to decide on the final winner, he sent us another track, and we said, okay, let's use that one. So it made that whole voting system pointless. But Matt, when people email in saying dear TCGS or whatever, do we have to correct them and say, actually, no, this is the computer game show, TCGS is the other things?
No, I think that's probably fine.
And the streams are...
Well, the streams are TCGS because...
Right, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Star Calls is TCGS.
Well, everything TCGS, yeah. Even this is TCGS.
Not this show.
I still like the name.
This show is the computer game show from TCGS, so it doesn't...
Right, okay. So
Couldn't we have gone the full way and gone for the TCGS network? Because that's what we were going for before when we tried to bring interface into the fold as well.
TCGSN.
Yeah, I guess, well, maybe that's our next rebrand in 2 years' time.
I wish I'd have known, because I should have said at the start of the show, hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show, brought to you by TCGS, which also stands for the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. Is that what I should have done?
Have I talked about the PC Games N thing before?
No, what's this?
Because PC Games N is a website, and the N stands for network, but the company that owns it is called Network N, so they're actually called Network. Yeah, I think that's a good model to follow.
I mean, obviously we weren't going to rebrand as anything crazy because people call us this TCGS anyway, so figured...
Although, just to preempt it, Matt, everyone's going to ask, so the TCGS Co., that's just because that's the URL we could get, right? That's not like...
So, for ages, I've obviously been trying to, obtain at TCGS on various networks. First of which was Twitter. I actually got in contact with... I'm not sure I ever mentioned this on the show before, but last year I got in contact with at TCGS on Twitter. It's basically a Twitter account which I think was tweeting about trading card games. I can't remember what type.
Do you know what?
Anyway,
I'd love it if I owned at TCGS, but just wouldn't let you use it.
I mean, you don't. So I spoke to the owner on the phone. Anyway,
Where did you go? Why did that come from, James? What a vicious, nasty thought.
Because it'd be really funny if he's just like, I just want to use it. So no, you're not.
Okay, all right.
I mean, James, you do realise you're part of this as well, right? I mean,
well, yeah, I guess, but
you guess. Yeah, so I got in contact with at TCGS and I said, hey,
like one of the Avengers going, I wish I could destroy the world. Oh, you went outside for I've never seen the Avengers. Go on.
So I said, hey, we're potentially looking to rebrand. We're like a computer game podcast, and you haven't used your account for like 4 or 5 years. I can't remember. It's ages basically, and even then they saying like 4 tweets in like 2014 or whatever. I was like, it'd be. We'd like to potentially obtain it, and then I actually to find so actually I went like a massive goose chase. I went on the website. The website's still live, but obviously nothing's been posted for many years. I searched like loads of the posts. I looked at comments and stuff, like trying to work out who owned it. Then I found a name and I emailed or found that name on Twitter. I DM'd them. They're like, oh no, it's this person you need to get hold of. That person I found on LinkedIn, and then messaged that person on LinkedIn, and then got the email address. Emailed what I just told you about, and he's like, oh awesome, okay, let's have a call about it. I was like,
oh no.
Okay, this is getting pretty serious then.
Someone wants paid.
And then I was like, oh, awesome.
Did you call them?
Here's my number. And yeah, a number from Poland rang me.
Uh-oh.
And said, oh yeah, cool, yeah, I'll be willing to show you the name. I was like, okay, cool. I mean, we haven't got a huge budget. We're just like a lowly old
We've got
podcast.
Zero budget, Matt. We've got zero budget.
Well, obviously I wasn't going to say that, but anyway, we haven't got much money. But we'll be interested in obtaining it. How much? And he's like, I think he said like 1,500 euros.
Fucking hell!
And I was like, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
How did that call end?
And then I responded saying thanks, but absolutely no thanks. And then he randomly, I think if you check at TCGS, I'm sure there's a tweet he posted last year saying hi. Anyway, so...
Well, because I was going to say, because I remember when Twitter announced they were going to start deleting accounts that
I know, and I was so
disuse,
excited about that.
Most people are tweeting oh, what about my dead nan's Twitter account? And Matt was just there rubbing his hands together, ready to pounce.
And then rightfully everyone kicked off on Twitter said actually we're going to hold for now because there's obviously lots of accounts we want to preserve for people who sadly passed away. Anyway, so I was like, I thought that was my chance. It wasn't. Anyway, and also contacted at TCGS on Instagram.
The computer game show.
That didn't work. So what?
So what is our social thing?
So
now,
Yeah, but hang on. Can I just ask a question, Matt? How much would you have been willing to pay?
Good question. 150 quid. If you'd have said 150 quid.
I probably would have done 150 quid, yeah.
150 quid. And if you'd have come to us and gone, guys, I think we should all chip in for this, I would tell you to fuck off, I think. I think that would be a fuck off reply, that one. 150 quid, Matt.
I'm willing to do anything for like a cohesive brand. But anyway, we don't need to now. Because also TCGS.com was obviously taken. Anyway, so after weeks and months of searching, I was like, TCGS.co, that was available. I searched a bunch on last week whenever it was, thinking, okay, we need to get this rebrand sorted. I think we go TCGS.co. And I think I messaged you guys saying, you know what, I think I'm going to buy a domain. I think that'd be a good one to, for a new brand. And then that morning, so within minutes of me searching and telling you guys about it, the domain was unable to buy from all the domain places. And I've since found out actually if you're looking...
James is about to say, wouldn't it be funny if I bought it?
Wouldn't it be funny if I bought it for £150? And apparently it's a known thing if you're looking at domains, go to private browsing because some companies will basically snipe the domain and then ask you if you want to buy it for thousands of pounds. And it turns out I found someone else to buy it, and the website address, at least at the moment, is tcgs.co. Also, all of our social handles are also tcgs.co. We're just called TCGS, but that was a nice, shortish handle we can have on everything. So Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, we're all, at TCGS.co.
Can I ask you one thing, right? And it's not a dig. It's probably a dig. It's just one of those things that if you go to tcgs.co.uk, that's not our website.
No. I mean, it's just
our website is tcgs.co.
Yeah.
But the problem is, whenever you speak to old people and they give you web addresses, they usually mean .co.uk, but they just go, go to, facebook.co. Do you know what I mean? That's what it sounds like when you say it.
Did I ever tell you about, I think it was on This American Life, and they read out a URL from a UK website, and they're like, .co.uk, and I was like, sorry, what?
Yeah, so...
HTTP. Yeah, I don't need that bit, mate. I don't need that bit. That's fine. That is fine.
Couldn't we have had tcgs.biz or something like that?
Yeah, we can still get that, unless someone takes it I've listened to this, yeah. But the important thing is, and the website, I guess, is still hosted on the old domain. We need to move things over. That's going to take a couple of months. But for now, it's TCGS.co for the website, TCGS.co for the website, and we got TCGS.co on everything. So, I can sleep soundly night now, knowing, one, the rebrand's done, it's finally live for everyone to see after thinking about it for months. And then also, every one of our handles is the same. This is... Oh, I can't tell you how good that feels.
Yeah, because I said this on WhatsApp, but I often found, when I was, if I was writing out a tweet saying I was doing a stream or whatever, and I was like, hang on, which one's our Twitch? Is it Computer Game Pod? Is it TCGS?
Yeah,
is it the computer game?
We couldn't have / a computer game show on Twitter because that was too many characters. So I had to be computer game pod.
Anyone cares about this, really. I think we've spoken about this enough.
No, but I care, and it's just annoying. It's and we argued about that, but when we're first starting and saying, what are we going to call it? Computer game pods, or there's some other options, but it's we can't fit the full name in. What the fuck are we going to do? And that's also weird. It's here's a cooking show link. Oh, computer game pod. I don't know. Yeah. I just wanted cohesive, so I'm really happy.
I can't wait for our Twitch subs to just drop off this month because everyone's just like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, who are these guys?
Yeah,
I mean, there is one piece of news connected to this, Matt, that you don't know about just yet, but. Sean, James and I have all been chatting and we're thinking about just ending, really. We're under a lot of stress at the moment and this has been a lot of hard work to do during the lockdown, so we were thinking about just closing the pod down. So this is the last episode of the Computer Game Show presented by TCGS. It's the first episode and the last episode. So thanks for all your efforts, Matt. Thanks for all your efforts. But we've come to an end. That was a joke. Right, should we get on with the feedback?
Yeah.
Good.
We're going to start with Kurt Lewin.
Matt's just that was a funny day. Fuck off. Sorry, Michael.
Kurt starts, hi TCGS. No, it's a computer game show, Kurt. We've been over this.
Get it right, mate.
I guess if you're talking to us as a collective, that's fine. But if you're email... No, yeah. Hi TCGS. Will Dave be issuing a public apology for spoiling Red Dead 2 for all of us out there who had just started it through Game Pass? I was 30% of the way through the story at the time of hearing the spoiler. Or maybe Matt for not editing out the show? Fuck off, Kurt. TCGS is normally excellent in avoiding spoilers, but this must have slipped the net. Side note, I will be carrying on due to everything you've said and the listeners about how good the game is, so don't think it stopped me continuing. Also, Oodles, at Oodles I do on Twitter, feedback last week about how what I consider minor spoilers revealed, or at least chatter about spoilers. Can we discuss this? Personally, I don't think it's punishable, but thoughts? ?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I never intend to spoil things for anyone, and I apologise if that's the case, but it's something we've spoken about before, isn't it? And that people's spoiler thresholds all over the place, and it's hard to really gauge. I personally didn't see that as a spoiler. I thought that had been out there quite a bit since the game had been released. Obviously I didn't go into details, I didn't tell you that end of I
don't
because has been by.
I don't think. I think this is.
Sorry,
I think this might be a little bit much.
Really? You think?
Yeah, it's a bit, mate.
Well, he didn't mention.
What? No, because I haven't mentioned the stuff. I didn't mention.
Oh my god!
In the 7 where and leads you up. Start.
I think we should. I think this is.
Why?
It's gonna be a lot of now.
There's a lot of editing work in it, Matt.
I mean, to be fair, you didn't mention the bit where Darth Vader turns up either. So
good point. Didn't mention that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's seriously though. It's a tough subject. It's a tough thing to gauge. I'd hate to think that I'd spoiled anything for you, but in my head, I thought this was quite well reported on by then. The game's been out for a year and a half. A while. Where do we start and stop with the spoilers? Maybe we misjudged this one. And
I saw this on the Discord, the discussion about it, and I was like, what spoiler? When do we even talk about Red Dead? And then I obviously asked you before we recorded tonight, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is one, yeah. But I
not to be a prick, but I did point it out at the time.
Oh, did you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't see how it's any different to what you've done in previous weeks, though, Sean.
Why? What have I done?
Well, yeah, I mean, you didn't you 2 weeks before say, Greece is about grieving. And it's like, well, actually, that's quite a big theme that you discover throughout the game, isn't that?
It's literally like the opening cutscene. It's implied that that's what it's about.
Well, I don't know.
It's not like a shocking reveal.
I don't know. I don't know, actually, Sean. I think that's along the same lines. So you watch it.
But yeah, it's a shame for everyone starting it just now on Game Pass. That's got a real kick to the dick. But we do apologise.
Yeah, no, it sucks.
Well,
listen,
Dave apologises.
Usually, if we feel that one of us has gone over the mark with spoilers, it would get flagged up and it get edited out, or we put a spoiler button or something. But I mean, I was surprised that anyone saw it. I don't know about you guys, but I was surprised when the complaints started coming in about a Red Dead spoiler. And I didn't even consider the fact that it just joined Game Pass. Like, that didn't cross my mind, so that's my bad. But yeah, it was one of those. I apologise if I ruined the game for you. I really didn't mean to.
I'm sure the controls will do that enough for you, Dave. Don't worry about it.
Not to mention the outdated mission design. Hey, guys.
Oh, last gen mission. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Pretty last gen, actually, I'd say.
I still, that argument still rubs me up the wrong way, because I wasn't able to come straight back after that show and lay into Matt.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it?
There's a period where you look back on those arguments and think, I should have said this, I should have said that. Like, that was the same show where, like, he was praising Spider-Man as being great, and I thought, what were the missions in Spider-Man doing that was so revolutionary then? I'm trying to work out.
We haven't had like 6 Spider-Mans before where the mission structure is exactly the same.
No, what?
Whereas
There's not been 6 Red Deads before where the mission structure
we've had like
exactly
the GTAs, and with Red Dead 1, there's like the same thing.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I think you should go back and play those older GTAs
No, I don't want
again,
it.
Matt, because
I'll
I think
never go
you'll be
back. I
very
always look forward.
surprised by the difference in what you're actually doing in those
I stand
missions.
by it, right? Okay, if the next GTA is next, we would assume GTA 6, right? If GTA 6, it's going to look unbelievable when it is eventually announced and unveiled and stuff for next gen. If we're like, oh, brilliant,
been announced, by the way.
What's that?
Announced? No.
I thought it was kind of known that it was definitely happening.
Well, it's one of those. It's fucking inevitable, isn't it? But it's not officially announced. No.
What, James? Of course, it's definitely happening. You don't think they're going to make a GTA 6?
No, hang on, because I was reading about this the other day where people were saying that it's been kind of forget it.
No, it's
I'm not getting into this.
what have you read, James? It's just rumours and bullshit. Like, obviously they're going to do one. They just haven't said anything about it yet.
Yeah.
Secondly, Matt, you complaining about controls is completely just a redundant point these days because we've seen you play Metroid.
Well, yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but other people have also said old controls, shit controls. Anyway, I haven't got to my point. The point was, we see GTA 6 in like 2 or 3 years' time. It looks unbelievable, the things you can do in it. And then, okay, do a mission. Okay, so you drive here, you shoot that person, you drive back. So, if that's an mission structure in the next GTA, are you going to be happy with that?
That wasn't the mission structure. Well, it depends what you mean by mission structure. There will be missions where you do that, but that's not what every mission was like in GTA 5, Matt.
No, but a lot of it was go to a place, shoot someone, go back.
You're clutching at straws and you're really trying to hold on to them there, Matt. I'll tell you that.
Red Dead, there's so many genuinely unbelievable, revolutionary bits, like storytelling, the environments. But then it's like, okay, cool, so track this person, don't get too close, just go a bit back, and then you go there, wait for that person to do a thing.
What are the right? So this came out in the same year as Spider-Man. What were the missions in that?
No, it's different because
was it go somewhere, beat someone up, and then go back?
It hasn't been Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Red Dead 1. It's like, okay, are you going to change the mission structure at all in these games, or just are you going to keep them the same?
So it's not that these games, these style of missions have been in various different games, like various different games for various different companies. It's that one company does those missions in their games as well.
It's just like so many things in that game are stunning. That just stuck out like a sore thumb for me. It's like
Matt, look,
everything's new. Feels. Hang on, James, James on talking. James on talking.
No, it's Matt. I really like Spider-Man. I thought it was great, but you're onto a losing with this. It's ridiculous.
No, I'm not talking about Spider-Man. I'm saying Red Dead 2 is amazing in so many ways. It pushes the boundaries, blah blah blah. But then it's like the thing that sticks out is like, oh, the mission. You go there. You shoot, man, come back. It's like...
Okay, well, Rockstar, if you're listening, for GTA 6, please don't have any missions where you drive somewhere and engage in combat.
No, but Dave, would you not
try and work out a game around
to be
that?
Pushed on?
Okay, just exclude the driving somewhere and then the killing... And then work out a completely new concept of what to do in those games.
No, that's the thing.
Point. I hope
it doesn't have to be completely new. Just something that pushes it on that isn't just like... I mean, I played other games, so I'm sure there's much better mission structure. Here, it just feels rather basic. And like the fact is, like, there's some missions in Red Dead 2 where, God no, it's totally different because you might go there and then you might have to go somewhere else to shoot someone. It's like, I just think
that's
I think
you're right.
like
I think going somewhere and shooting
more.
people is probably a direction GTA should move away from. I'm interested to see what the fuck they want these characters to do.
But Dave, do you want to update the mission structure? Do you want to push forward, or do you want to stay the same thing?
If you've got an interesting idea for what these characters should be doing, then I'm all ears. But that's kind of the basis of these games. You're asking for a Call of Duty game where you haven't got guns.
Well, no, but like Call of Duty has almost certainly, changed and updated a game to provide a bit different, level structures.
Okay, all right, okay. I do not
Sean
understand
James,
what you're saying.
do you think Red Dead 2's mission structure is absolutely perfect? It's can't get any better.
It was very weird how many of the missions, or even just the general structure of it was like turn up somewhere. Situation's a bit touchy. There's a bit of tension with locals or whatever. Things get worse. You end up having to murder a load of people. Rinse and repeat. Spoilers. So yeah, and especially towards the end, it was like they had, we said this back at the time. It was like they had a lot more story than they had ideas for missions, right? And there is a lot of just like go to the other side of the map and talk to someone and maybe shoot some people. Like, but it's with Rockstar Games, it's not just about that stuff, right? It's the way it wraps everything up is what makes it cool. So a long journey across the map can be interesting in and of itself. Not always. I do think it's towards the end of Red Dead 2 it started to take the piss a bit. But it's the worlds they create can get away with go here, talk to someone for a while,
No, and so many bits, like I said, so I'm not saying like the rest of the game is unbelievable. I mean, I may rush through it, but it's like what they do with storytelling and environment, all that sort of stuff is unbelievable. It's just that that stuff sticks out like a sore thumb.
You skip the cutscenes. You watch the end on YouTube.
That's something you said, Dave. I mean, like you can make up your own narrative. I'm just telling you what I did.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, right. That's the first bit of feedback. Should we go on to feedback number 2? Skin Tight Jeebers. Hello, another brilliant podcast this week that helps me get through my lonely drives to work. Can we have an inquiry into who was playing on their Switch whilst David was talking at the 134-minute, 31-second mark on the last pod?
So this was interesting. I went straight to that timestamp. I listened to it, and it sounded like someone going through the menus. That sort of sound as you're going through the menus. So I sort of told the group. I played the clip. James couldn't hear it. I don't know what's going on with your hearing, James, but I would definitely get that checked out at some point. I've listened to the clip, but I still can't hear anything.
Well, it just it seemed like guilt immediately.
The most fascinating aspect of this was that Sean accidentally admitted that he goes on his Switch once in a while
while
the show's
accidental about it. I said
you very deliberately admitted that you go on the Switch. You didn't need to. You should just kept quiet. We all know now that you go on your Switch during the show.
Yeah, so sometimes I will grab the Switch just to like check a release date or something.
Right. Did you find you can't get that from Google or whatever?
Well, because the keyboard's noisy in it, and if I hold my phone too near to the microphone, it does that noise. So
it'd be wicked if there was some sort of computer with like a sheet of glass that sort of recognised touch, so you could type into Google.
I don't keep my tablet by my desk, do I? It's usually like upstairs in the bedroom, or whatever. Anyway, point is, I was like, do you know what? There is a chance that it'll turn out it was me. And it'd be much worse to just be like, well, I don't remember doing it. There's no chance it was, and then for it to turn out it was. So it's just like, there's a chance it might be me.
Fronting it, I like it.
I mean, like, Sean was so desperate to do that. It's like in films where like a detective talks to someone. It's like, hey, how are you? And the person's like, oh, I didn't see that woman. It's like, what? I didn't kill her. I mean, I haven't been there. Sean was like, I haven't been playing my Switch in a way. Oh, fuck.
My favourite bit was when David, when you said to me, though, you were like, why are you not denying it? And I said, what's even the point? You won't believe me anyway.
Well, we did isolate the audio. We found out it was Sean. However, here's the snippet from that episode, isolated. As you can hear, it sounded like Sean putting a can down on the desk. So what I will say is thank you to our listeners for picking up on stuff like that, and do let us know if you hear some sort of evidence.
Jeebus, you're a fucking grass, mate.
We appreciate it. Because even though it was just Sean putting his can down, we now know he uses his Switch during the show. That's something to keep in the back of your mind.
Grassed myself. What an idiot.
Yeah, you're the biggest grass of all. I'm so addicted to grassing, I grass myself up.
You fucking played yourself.
I fucking love it. Right, next bit of feedback.
Sean Thomas at Sean S. Thomas on Twitter. Great pod, guys. Enjoyed it loads, but Matt's reading way too much into how well Sony specifically came out of that tech demo. I'm with Dave. Didn't clock it as a PS5 thing, just an Unreal Showcase. I mean, Sony literally paid Epic to only talk about the PS5 and not mention another next-gen console. So it seemed it was a PS5 thing for me.
I don't know if it was. It really didn't feel like it to me. I mean, they obviously mentioned the PS5.
Yeah, but I mean, they say it's like, here's this real-time demo on PS5, and no, there was not one single mention of any other consoles in any of the interviews or videos or commentary.
No, don't get me wrong, they obviously paid for exclusive rights for that, but when I watched that presentation, it looked like Epic showing us their their new engine.
Yeah, and it was
feel
exactly
like,
that.
Here's the first PS5 stuff, guys. It never came across as that to me.
It was like it wasn't blatant, but it was like right, the elephant in the room is that this is a major PS5 tech showcase reveal. But and that's why it's so brilliant. Sony wasn't like they didn't even share this. I don't think it wasn't like, hey, this is our big demo. It's just like, oh yeah, here's a demo. Oh, it's running real time on PlayStation 5.
No, but the way you were saying it was like, oh, they've really done Microsoft.
But they have.
Here. And I thought,
They totally have, because it wasn't a big show and dance. It's just like, oh yeah, that demo. Yeah, that was real time on PlayStation 5, whatever. I'm not even bothered because it's not even probably us, but look what we did. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing because of that. It wasn't like, everyone, the first gameplay of Xbox coming inside Xbox tomorrow. Sony didn't even fucking mention this. Obviously, they paid lots of money.
Why would they not mention it if they paid lots of money?
Sony wasn't like, check out the big Unreal. They didn't have to because they knew everyone would talk about it.
Okay, all right.
And they did.
I don't see it quite like that, but I was bloody impressed with it. There's no doubt about it. It was a good demo.
Impressed. Josh Crow. Hello, lads. Hope you're all well. Regarding your thoughts on Telling Lies, I was pleased to know I wasn't the only one who found the story a little disjointed. It made me go back to the game and double check something, which I was convinced was the case, and that has led to a full realization of my major problem with the game. So the game clearly states up front that you're viewing the conversations from a singular perspective, but what bothers me is the fact that the relevant characters are not wearing any sort of headphones ever, which leads me to believe they're playing audio through the speaker or whatever device they're using, in which case we will be able to hear the other side of the conversation even if you can't view it. Even if the character we can see is recording locally, surely the reciprocated audio will also be captured.
Yeah,
that's a very good point.
I don't know if that's just me misreading the contextual instructional document, or if it's just a quirk of the game that's given me a hand wave due to the nature of the presentation. Either way, it really broke the immersion for me, something which I knew initially but hadn't fully registered until I took the time to go back to it. Just strikes me as a little bit weird to have to piece together conversations that would flow like you'd expect them to, if they weren't stilted by the game's mechanics. Am I perhaps reading too much into it? Apologies for the stream of consciousness, just need to write it down for some form of affirmation.
I picked up on this straight away with this game, but I did just kind of go, okay, well, they're getting around. It doesn't matter really, does it? It's like one of those things that's, I've been thinking about Back to the Future a lot recently because I'm appearing on a Back to the Future podcast this weekend. And it's one of those, it's like, well, why would Marty be hanging out with Doc in the first place? How did they meet and become friends? But then you just go, it doesn't really matter, does it? Who cares? And that's kind of what I felt about that as well. It didn't bug me that much. I think, but that is an important point though. The major difference between her story and Telling Lies is that her story, it's all interviews, isn't it, with the police?
It works so perfectly for that.
You're only hearing the answers. You don't really need to hear the questions. It's just the answers. So it's not a two-way conversation that you're never sitting through bits where they're sitting there listening to someone going, yep. Yep. Uh-huh. Do you know what I mean? You've never got those moments, and maybe that is, disjointed, I don't think is the right word, because that's the point in these games. They are disjointed. But I think the pacing is certainly a problem in Telling Lies. But yeah, the fact is a lot of people enjoyed it. So I think there's just some people that bugs and some people that it doesn't. So cool. I was certainly one that didn't get into it.
John H. Elite Dangerous has a map of the fucking universe. Takes a while to get your head around that. It does, John.
But then the universe has got loads of fuck all in it, so I don't know if that really counts.
Like space, though, isn't it?
That's just loads of empty space, isn't it?
It is space. It is lots of space.
Literally loads of space.
Also, trouble with that map, surely, is that map's constantly getting bigger. So that's an absolute nightmare, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's got space.
Paul has emailed, Dear Sean, James, Matt and David, I've been a regular listener of the pod for several years now, since first discovering it sometime in 2017 after reading an article about best video games podcasts. It's not several years, because...
What?
several.
Who's written an article with us in it for best video games podcast?
No, yeah, there's more.
Okay. After reading an article about best video game podcast or similar, one of the pods mentioned in the article was Kane and Rince.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
See, Dave, you jumped in too early there.
How much do they pay? How much they pay these people?
Same amount Sony paid Epic.
Well, the cast is so big, isn't it? It's probably one of them wrote it. It's like.
I mean, statistically,
everyone knows. Everyone
someone
knows
on planet Earth, there's a 10%
chance
it's someone involved with Kane and Rince.
One of the pods mentioned in the article was Kane and Rince, and after delving into their catalogue, at some point one of the hosts mentioned TCGS and the friendly rivalry that was going on. I don't think it's not friendly.
Probably Gary. He's a big fan.
Intrigued, I gave you guys a listen. I have to say, whilst I'm not usually a fan of the bunch of guys chat about what they've been up to show format, your personality is constant piss-taking and what I believe the British refer to as great banter.
Yeah, it is.
Gradually won me over to the point where, honestly, I don't give a shit about Animal Crossing or Google Stadia, but it's an absolute delight hearing you push each other to breaking point each week. No, we don't. There was also another tangential, but no less important factor that led me to be a fan, and it's why I write in today, having never written into a podcast in my life. I'm talking about the constant, but never pointed out references to The Office, and the absolutely ludicrous revelation that Sean Bell's been sat there listening to David and Matt, and to a less frequent extent James, for year after year with no real context for such a large chunk of what comes out of their mouths. I don't recall The Office ever being brought up explicitly on the pod, which is why it felt so bizarre for the elephant in the room, the constant references, to be addressed after all these years. It's not just the lines from the show either, but even the way Matt and David will pronounce particular words. I do the same every time a meeting agenda comes up, a word, the new get agenda. Sadly, mostly to blank reactions, but it's worth it for the odd time someone appreciates it. Recently, COVID-19 has led my office needing to make many people redundant to stay afloat. And one silver lining in a stressful and tragic situation, as you can imagine, is what absolute wellspring of opportunities for prime David Brent quotes this has led to. Though in bitter irony, I usually have to err on the side of human decency and bite my tongue, rather than point out on my colleagues in turn, you're not going to lose your job, you're not going to lose your job. Anyway, I agree that a majority of Gervais's output and public persona has been pretty average, to put it kindly, but the UK office, as we're legally obliged to refer to it in the rest of the world, is without doubt a near perfect series of comedy that there's ever been. Apologies, I'm yet signed up to Patreon. I know I've been complacent, but an Office Calls series and my cries of I'm asking you don't make me redundant being successful would sorely tempt me. Keep up the great work in these strange times. That's from Paul.
Cheers,
Thank
Paul.
you, Paul. I mean, great email. Just great.
I mean, there must be, honestly, he's got a point. There must be, I can imagine you sitting down and finally watching The Office, Sean, and just going, oh my God, they say that all the time, like about 8 times throughout an episode. Yeah. Like, you must have heard us go, keep up the doodling. Like, you must have heard that.
See, because what's fascinating is, so there's definitely some I've noticed. So did Nuru get an agenda? Like, I've heard you do that a lot, Dave. But then like, the doodling one, that's never, honestly, that's never registered. Which is just weird.
I think we must have dropped that about 200 times.
I think
the thing is, it depends, because sometimes they're contextual, like they come up and they fit in quite well, but other times Dave often just comes out with stuff for no apparent reason whatsoever.
That does happen as well. That does happen.
I don't know. I think I just automatically either assume it's something Dave's seen that I haven't, or that it's just like, because I think it's fair to say you were better friends with Matt and James before me, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just assume there's like a shared history there that I'm not aware of, which in a sense is the case.
Yeah, but it's all based around The Office.
But you just assume it's like in jokes that I've not been party to, you know?
You know, the time that I regret not saying an Office quote, right? Just before lockdown, there was an attack on a bus that I was on where these 2 young teenagers started fronting up to this woman on a bus. And I got involved and started shouting them, telling them to shut the fuck up and sit down, all that sort of stuff. I was stressed out, like the lockdown was just about to begin. And then they come up to me and they started calling me Bug Eyes Man, like, and taking the piss out of my eyes, right? And as soon as I got off the bus, I thought, why didn't I say, don't have a go at the eyes. You know, I've had astigmatism since I was 4. That's why they're a little bit bulbous. I cannot believe I didn't say that, because if there was one other person on the bus that knew the office, they would be on the floor like laughing. I was absolutely gutted I didn't come out with that. But Sean, once you've watched the whole of the Office thing, you should probably listen to this show from episode 1 again.
I mean, is it like, obviously, not knowing well enough, would there be mileage in doing office calls, do you think? Or would it just maybe be
what
fun?
Can you say?
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That bit was funny. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Like, there's not much to say, really. Yeah. I'd prefer to just sit down in a room with you and go through them from start to finish.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
I think you'd watch it, Sean, and you would just be like, "Yeah, you're right. It is the best."
That's a quote, Sean. That's a quote. Oh.
Right, okay, cool.
Mental, mate. That is it for feedback. If you want to tweet us, you can tweet us at TCGSCo on Twitter. Or I think that's it. Do I normally do it? Yeah. If you want to leave us feedback, it's still podcast@computergameshow.com until we move things over. There you go.
So that's it then. Time for the news. I mean, we're only 40 minutes in, but let's get some news.
It's annoying, isn't it? Because it's like 40 minutes. I've kind of lost interest in this news already, even though I put it together.
Yeah, it's true. Go on.
It's not very interesting. The first one I've got is that G2A have admitted that they've sold like stolen keys. So have we talked about this before? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we did.
We did bring this up when it was first announced, and we were trying to work out, how do you steal keys? Like, how's that happen? Is this the...
Well, it's keys bought with stolen card details, usually.
Yeah.
So
right,
essentially...
okay, so it's peer-to-peer selling, isn't it, G2A?
Yeah. So basically, if you can steal some card details, buy a shitload of codes, it's essentially laundering it, isn't it? Because then you've got, these codes essentially become a currency that you can then resell via a grey site like G2A. There's probably some legitimate ones on there as well, but the whole point was G2A were known for just not really checking either way.
Right, okay.
But then they denied it, and they said, so last year they tried to address this. This is when we talked about
That's right.
By saying that they would then pay game developers 10 times their costs if they could prove that G2A had sold stolen keys for a particular game. So there's this developer called Webase Software who had they developed Factorio, and they took G2A at their word and then did an investigation, and then so they found out actually that it was the case, and then so G2A had to come forward and say, we're looking into things, and it seems that they were sold keys for this game. 198 of them were in fact stolen, and so they then had to pay the company the £40,000 or whatever, $40,000. So they then put out a statement, and this is what they said. They said, "We would be the first to admit that in our formative years as a company, we took too long to recognise that a small number of individuals were abusing our marketplace. However, the criticism we revealed was the wake-up call we needed, and over the last years we have been totally committed to tackling any incidents of fraud on our site. Today, we, and there's some of the most some of the most sophisticated proprietary anti-fraud AI technology of any online marketplace for digital products."
Mm-hmm.
So, they didn't apologise or anything like that. They just said, we're on top of it, but then didn't explain how they're on top of it or anything at all. And, because this was the company that, developers were saying, don't buy stuff from there. We'd rather you just pirated our games because it's harming us, from buying this stuff. Yeah. But they're not apologising. They're just saying that they're on top of it with some magic AI.
So what you're saying is that they did something wrong. They denied doing anything wrong, and then come out with a statement that wasn't really apology, just said what happened.
Basically.
What sort of strategy is that?
I know. It's mad, isn't it? You wouldn't think it'd work, but it does.
Yeah.
So that was that. I mean, it's crappy, innit? I guess don't use it. But you see, I've also heard other stuff about other sites that are doing this as well, but then I don't know if it's true or not, so maybe I shouldn't say.
No, you absolutely shouldn't say.
There you go, I'm not going to say anything.
So let's go on to the next news story.
Okay, so you know how recently, obviously, sports have been cancelled and stuff, so there's been, online leagues of stuff.
Yep.
And so Formula E have done this as well. They've been, doing, online racing or whatever. And it turns out that this Formula E driver who's called... Is it Daniel... How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, ABT.
How do you pronounce that?
Abt.
Yeah.
Abt. It's good Abd.
Abd, yeah. So Daniel Abd, he was disqualified and ordered to pay £8,900 to a charity because what he was doing was he was getting a professional gamer to compete under his name, like for official esports races. So
no professionals.
Yeah, it's yeah. So that's what happened. So the organisers took away all the points that he'd won, or hadn't won. And it turns out this guy called Lawrence Horsing was competing for him, and it's not good.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've said before that it kind of highlights especially with not so much esports, but the whole qualifications where you're doing it in your home via your own connection and all that sort of stuff. There's some pit holes there that really need to be grabbed hold of if people want to take those sort of stages. Pitfalls is what I meant. Do you know, the other day, I think my brain's just gone to mush because the other day I stated to my FIFA team, yeah, I'm still playing it. I stated to my FIFA team that our confidence was rock high. So that is I think I'm going to blame it on the whole lock-in thing. All right, and there's nothing you could do to. Go on.
Do you want to hear the quote? Because he's apologised. He said, "I did not take it as seriously as I should have. I'm especially sorry about this because I know how much work has gone into the project on the part of the Formula E organisation. I'm aware that my offence has a bitter aftertaste, but it was never meant with any bad intention."
Bitter aftertaste. Can I?
At least he apologised.
Should he be? Why
don't
is
do
he?
that anymore.
Why is he allowed to continue to compete? Like, for me, that is
Strange, isn't it?
About as bad as it gets.
I can only assume there's some technicality that, like, this isn't, what they're doing now with the online stuff isn't a straight replacement for the actual races. I guess it's just a bit of a sideshow just to keep people interested in the meantime. So I guess they can't officially, ban him because he didn't, wasn't on an actual race. I don't know. Don't know what the rules are.
I think also nothing matters anymore, does it? Either.
Yeah, fuck it. Do what you want.
Well, come to the computer game show presented by TCGS for your cheery responses of life.
I mean,
nothing matters
someone else
anymore.
Has committed a crime. Who gives a shit?
If I was Daniel Abd, I'll be pretty livid because he paid this guy and he only came third. So if I'm going to pay you, win the race. What am I paying you for? Livid.
Cool. Okay. Next story is that Platinum Games say that Microsoft aren't buying them. So
is this all off the basis of the lie that you told last year to Sean? Is this what snowballed this story to this point, is it?
It snowballed and then it got out of hand and now Platinum had to come out and dismiss it. So they said this. So this was... it was said. They said, "I did read some rumours about Xbox wanting to purchase Platinum Games and I thought people on the internet write the craziest stuff. Because that conversation has not come to our doorstep at all." This was like in Abe.
Out of the crazy shit that's on the internet, that's pretty low down on the scale.
Yeah, it doesn't really register, does it?
I mean, yeah, sure, there's fan fiction about Sonic banging Mario and stuff, but don't worry about that. Let's focus on the root. Go on.
He says, "That said, we're not Microsoft, so we don't know what happens behind their doors. We don't know if any thoughts about it possibly." And then he just basically goes on to say that they wouldn't really be interested anyway because they've just started getting into independent self-publishing and they don't really want to be controlled by anyone as such.
This won't be reported anywhere, though, was
Didn't they famously fall out pretty badly with Microsoft over Scalebound as well?
Scalebound, yeah. I think that happened as well.
Is this been reported anywhere? Have you seen anything about this, in recent weeks?
No. I think what it is, it's because Microsoft have been on a studio buying bonanza, haven't they, recently? And so people were thinking they need to buy a Japanese developer because they haven't got that. That's something they're still missing.
I've heard that for a while, but I've not in the past 3 or 4 weeks to kickstart this, response. People saying Microsoft are buying Platinum. I've not seen any of that stuff. So where's this? Why have they suddenly now decided? Right, yeah, let's release a press statement.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Unless they're floating the idea about.
Exactly, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
They're in trouble and they want to be purchased.
If I was Microsoft, I'll buy Capcom.
Go on.
Because they're obviously on the rise. They've got, their reboots and stuff have done obviously incredibly well. Resident Evil's in a great position. Monster Hunter's doing great in the West. So if you're going to buy anyone, buy Capcom, isn't it? Or they could buy Konami, bring them back.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be £50 for Konami, so Capcom will cost a lot of money. It'd be interesting to see who they do buy. They do need to buy someone, but oh my god, I mean, like,
what if they bought Bungie back?
Well, that's not going to help their Japanese problem, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. But what if they did? That'd be a great story.
I'm not sure them buying a Japanese studio is, good because, you know, a bit more money behind Japanese studios, that's a good thing for us. But if, like, Microsoft and Xbox has done infamously terribly over there.
Yeah.
I don't think if I was like a Japanese gaming fan, I'm like, oh, brilliant, the big American companies bought one of our companies.
Let's
almost
get an Xbox.
For fuck's sake, man. It's just like, that's almost like another, you know, I don't want to engage in that. I want to engage with Microsoft now even less because you feel like you can just buy our companies and now we're going to love you.
Well, they did also, in this whole story, because this is from gamesindustry.biz, they talked about this, and they said they had Platinum also talked about what the problem is with Xbox in Japan. And they said that, they felt that Xbox has always felt like it was something foreign and far away to the Japanese market. And then they, explained, they said, I think that Microsoft Japan could do more to market towards actual Japanese gamers' tastes for their consoles. He says, if you want a concrete example, when you unlock an achievement, it says achievement unlocked. And in Japanese, this phrase is translated extremely literally. Compare that with Sony's trophies. The idea is very easy to grasp. And even in Japanese, the word trophy is the same as in English. There's no awkward translation. It's easy to understand. So he's saying it's like the localization isn't great either. And, what I find interesting about this is when the original Xbox launched, they tried quite hard to court Japanese developers and to get Japanese games on the system. That's why you ended up with Dead or Alive and things like that. But they didn't seem to care, did they? I don't think it's a market that they're ever going to be able to penetrate, really.
No,
but I guess I'll keep trying. But the thing you just said there, James, about the lack of local translation, that's crazy that they haven't thought, okay, let's really do everything we can on a local translation level to try and engage with this audience. It's crazy that they haven't. That feels like quite basic stuff. If it means key things being renamed over there, that doesn't affect the rest of the business. It's not going to affect us, but it's obviously massive for that local audience. But the fact they haven't done that is okay. Don't know. Right now, the sales of Xbox One are so ridiculously low. It's they're further behind now than there was when they launched the original Xbox.
Jesus.
So what's when's the original Xbox come out? Oh, this is going to end.
Well, that was it 2001 or something like that?
Yeah, it's 15 plus years. And they're worse off now than there was when they started.
See, that was what was weird because with the 360 they tried again, we're trying to get more Japanese stuff and all that kind of thing, and that sold worse than the original Xbox did. It didn't even
it's
worse.
Funny, isn't it? Because I know that the old, the tale everyone used to spin was that basically Japan wasn't interested in online gaming. I don't know if that can't still be the case, surely.
No.
And also, they're also not interested in first-person shooters and stuff, and
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of EA's effort to try and get FIFA on the Switch. You know what I mean? put out a shitty sort of half-assed version. No one buys it because it's a shitty half-assed version, and then say we're not going to do it for the Switch anymore. No one bought it. You know what I mean? It's yeah, mate. Whose fault is it that no one's buying it? But it's a problem for Microsoft. I just have no idea how they could possibly sort that at this point.
But I will say, having a big foothold in the Japanese market is not what it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, or 15 plus years ago, whatever, having a big presence in Japan was a huge thing, but now the big markets are, America and Europe. So it's not as critical as it once was with 16-bit and 32-bit and 64-bit era. So it's a shame, and I feel like it would be great if they were to have a presence there. And Phil Spencer's obviously done wonders generally for Microsoft since he's really come on board. But I think this feels like a massive thing. And even if they bought loads of developers and locally, and did really well in localization, of games and features, it's still a 10+ year thing to turn that around.
Okay.
Okay, next story is that Sony says it's going to reveal games soon. This is just a quick one, but they've also given PS Plus and now subscriber numbers.
All right.
So what this was it says, so following the publication, so they published their full year financial results on May 13th, and like they said that they're still on track to launch for 2020, like the PS5. But then during an investor Q&A session, there was this Merrill Lynch analyst who said Sony's next generation game console marketing compared to Microsoft's software lineup introduction is a bit inferior. Some people say it's lagging. So towards the launch of PS5, do you think that you have a passing grade? And if it is a passing grade, what is going well? And then so Sony's chief financial officer just responded and said, well, on that point, I think results will be everything. So after the launch, it will be clear. And so we're going to make our utmost effort. He was like, well, I don't think any of that. But then they released the numbers. So it turns out the PlayStation now has 2.2 million paid subscribers. That's from April this year. And which isn't, I mean, that's not great, is it? Let's be honest.
No, well, not comparatively speaking. I mean, yeah, you'd think 2.2 million subscribers paying that amount of money every month is good. But then Microsoft are way over 10 million now, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure since they reduced the price to, now you can get it for about 35 quid for a year. That's probably why they've increased numbers. And also they have started putting bigger games on the service now, more regularly.
Yeah, I think even today there's a Call of Duty announcement, wasn't there? The latest Call of Duty is going to be on there on PS Now.
Yeah.
Oh, they had that. Really?
Yeah, then they had Control as well recently and stuff like that. And I mean, the good thing about those is at least then you can download them as well. It's not, you don't have to stream them. So it's basically it's more like Game Pass, but it's still obviously not as good. There's just, I mean, I was going through it because I've got a sub to it and I was going through what's available there. And you're going to attack me for this, I'm sure, but I'm pretty certain there are more PS Now games actually on the service than there are on Game Pass. Yeah, I'm certain the catalogue's bigger.
Well, have you counted everyone, James? Have you counted everyone?
No, but I'm pretty certain that there are more games on it.
I'd love to know if that's the case.
600 plus or something. But the trouble is that there's not a lot of stuff in there that, from my opinion, you'd actually want to play. It's not brilliant. It's not a really good.
There's a hell of a lot. I mean, what Microsoft are doing well with Game Pass is they're getting a lot of games that are multi-platform games, £15 games that are launching on Game Pass. That's the stuff that seems crazy. It's like a new game comes out and it's £15 on the Switch, £15 on the PlayStation, but it's on Game Pass. They're doing that a lot, and it really does make you think, fucking hell.
Yeah, because with PS Now, as you say, even if the library is very good, there's none of that sort of faith in new stuff coming to it going forward, because there's never been any noise around, as you say, a game has just come out, and it's on PlayStation Now, or Sony aren't going oh, by the way, Ghosts of Tsushima, that's going to PS Now, or there's none of that.
But this is because I really think what they're doing, it really feels to me now that these streaming services, but also Game Pass and everything, they are becoming like Netflix in the sense that these are the places where you put all the stuff which is kind of mid-range, really. This is not the real blockbuster stuff. And then you still have to pay for stuff that is considered to be blockbuster stuff. So if you think about film releases and stuff, that a lot of stuff doesn't come onto Netflix or whatever for quite a long time. You still have to buy those if you want to, through iTunes or whatever. Yeah. Whereas the stuff that is on Netflix, there's a lot of really good stuff there, but there's also a lot of middling stuff, and that's how Game Pass and PS Now feel to me as well. It's really, aside from the Microsoft stuff, you still have to pay for the things that are coming out that are really good.
Yeah, for sure.
And don't forget that Netflix is pissing money as well. They're billions in debt.
So
the model doesn't necessarily
I'm sure that Microsoft are as well with Game Pass. It's just that at the moment they can afford
that.
Well,
they're saying not, aren't they?
Strategy,
Phil Spencer has said in interviews that financially it is working out for them. I mean, maybe that's a very vague, intentionally vague way of putting it. He didn't say, yes, we are profiting from this. Maybe it just means that, so financially the hit they are currently taking is a worthwhile investment in securing a larger user base. But I don't know, it's interesting.
But it's weird talking about profit and loss and stuff. You might think at home they're losing money because it's how much is a Game Pass? Maybe £8 a month, maybe.
Yeah, but how many of those people have actually paid?
No, exactly. Okay, so we were thinking, they're going to lose money because it's £8 a month. No, that's just what they're charging. It's probably costing them pennies, because cloud storage and so on and so forth. And they've obviously set up the infrastructure anyway. And so, just because people are getting it less than the retail price of £8 a month doesn't mean they're losing money. So I mean, I assume, I'm not sure, as Sean said, actually Phil or someone else from Game Pass said they get like people spend way more in terms of other purchases and buying they're buying games more regularly after playing them on Game Pass.
I wonder if we're going to start.
So that's probably true, but
sorry, James, go on.
The real cost, though, has got to. It's not really. I doubt the cost. Is like the service based and all that kind of thing. It's got to be paying licenses for like having this stuff.
Well, yeah, because
they've got to pay the developers, haven't they?
I've said, but I've heard that they are incredibly generous. It's not like we'd heard back in the early days of PlayStation Plus. Not that it's this, it's not like for like, but we'd heard that it was basically the money was not amazing, and it was pretty much like if you were sure your game wasn't going to sell, you may as well stick it on PS Plus. Or I think there was vague
exposure or whatever.
Yeah, and I think there was deals where it could if you had a new game coming out, Sony would say, well, look, stick your old one on PS Plus. We'll help you out with marketing and stuff. Whereas, I've heard that with Game Pass, it's like no, they basically write off the development costs for the game. I mean, it might vary from game to game, but that's what I've heard about like larger games. Never mind indie stuff. So.
It's similar, isn't it, to like what Epic are doing as well?
Yeah.
It is to just grab market share, isn't it? Like initial, like you do this. I mean, I don't think you're good. Like those things like the £1 deal and stuff. If this goes well, that's not going to exist in a couple of years.
Well, I think it will though, because they're always going to want to get more customers. Ultimately, they would, in Microsoft's perfect world, they would want every single. Not just Xbox owner, but gamer, if they can play Game Pass on other platforms, to be paying a subscription, even if it's only £1. So, like, they're always going to be clamoring for more and more customers. It's not like in 2 years' time, we're happy with what we got. I mean, it's been crazy how many promotions there has been. And the fact also that it's not just you used it once, now you have to pay full price. You can basically keep adding promotions and getting things super cheap. But I still think they're going to be doing loads of promotions because ultimately they want to get people on the service.
Mm. I do wonder if
it seems like a key to the next gen. It's interesting to keep an eye on it for the next year or so.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting the way So obviously, stuff gets added to Game Pass pretty much every week. It's worth pointing out that is a churn. Stuff does leave on a regular basis as well. So I wonder if the sort of average term on Game Pass will start to reduce, but then. That still seems like a decent deal because obviously, you get the warning like, look, these are the games that are going away this week, next week, whatever. Buy it now and you get 20% off it. That's pretty substantial. That's good.
That's decent.
Yeah, that's still good value for money if I was doing that regularly, I think.
Yeah, if I start playing it, be like, okay, well, I'll buy it, because I've started playing it. 20% off, I might as well. It's nice to have it digitally.
Yeah. So I wonder if things maybe things will start to spend less time on Game Pass.
And the fact I can say, hey, if you get a game with Game Pass, not only we're like promoting and stuff, but like there's 10 million customers there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's a big. That's a lot of eyes on like an indie game potentially goes there, but has a couple of good reviews, and suddenly hundreds of thousands or millions of people. See that.
Well, exactly. Yeah, there's whether this is Microsoft's main aim or not, probably not. But there is cultural worth as well in the fact that people are playing loads more stuff that they wouldn't have previously considered, which is cool.
Yeah. They must like to try a game or genre they didn't try before.
Before we move on to the next story, and while we're talking numbers and figures and stuff, I noticed that you haven't included this story about GTA 5 in the news, James. So I thought I'd just mention it. Did you see this that they released?
He's not gonna like that.
Their sales.
Wasn't it like 150 million or something?
130 million copies of GTA 5 have been sold. 130. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 has sold 33 million copies. Now, if you forget GTA 5, you look at 33 million copies of Red Dead 2, you think, fuck me, that is a massive success. What, 33 million copies? But the problem was, it was second place in their takings, just down from GTA 5 that had 130 million next to it. Fuck me.
Yeah.
What's the... And when you look at it, it's not like it's £5 in the shops anymore, is it? It's still...
well, yeah, because we always say, don't we? Like, if you look at the charts on average week, there's a good chance GTA 5 will still be in there. Not like at the top, but the fact that it's anywhere at all is astonishing. Just because you figure, well, because it's sold, tens of millions early on. Like, bearing in mind, this is obviously when it's now on its second. Like, it was on previous gen, and then got there was on 360. Yeah. So you just sort of figure, oh well, surely everyone who's interested has bought it by now. But no, just keeps on going. It's insane.
Crazy. All right. Okay. Next news.
I did just have a look at about the numbers. I think Game Pass has got about 200 games, and PS Now has 800.
Jesus.
So there is.
Wow, okay.
What games are on there?
It's got previous gen stuff as well, hasn't it? That you can stream.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They've got all the previous gen stuff as well. But again, it sounds good. But then you start going through the lists, and it's not great. Like there's not a lot of really good stuff there.
Stuff.
Why are they not promoting that? That's the question.
I have no idea.
Why are they not going out there and saying, PlayStation Now, sign up to PlayStation Now, it's this much, we've got 4 times the amount of games or whatever it is, 3 times the amount of games as Game Pass. Like, it's...
And it's got, like, you know, I was saying, like, all right, so looking forward, there's no real guarantee about what's coming to it, but it's got, like, some of the key exclusives on there, right? Like, Bloodborne's on there and stuff, I think. So
it's got that. It's got, like, the Metal Gear Solid games and all that kind of stuff, which is... I mean, I was even... Because I've never played Metal Gear Solid 4. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll play that one day. But, yeah, I don't know. Weird. Anyway... Next story. So, there was a thing about Gears of War 3 being on the PS3, but it turns out this was just a test. So, what it was that there was early footage of this running on the PS3 developer hardware, and this was posted to YouTube by this guy. He's like, I mean, they describe him on Eurogamer as a self-proclaimed former hacker called Pixel Butts, which is nice. He says... And then, this is the quote, he says, as far as I know, I'm the only person with a working build of the particular data as well. I don't know why it exists. I don't know why it was made. All I can do is speculate. And so what it is that the majority of the game is playable, save for 2 levels which apparently just break. And the performance was okay, but they couldn't render Anya's hair very well. It turns out that what it was is that, I mean, Epic have since come out and said, well, this was just a byproduct of them testing like the Unreal Engine 3 on like PS3. This is the reason why it exists. But it seems that the original build was obtained... Do you remember there was that hack of the company's servers in 2011?
Oh, yes.
And yeah, apparently that was where this came from. So that was that. I mean, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, a bit of a non-story, this one, isn't it? They used it to test their engine on another machine and see what you'd need to do to get one game that runs on one machine working on another, I guess. Let's see what the issues were. Nothing to this one, I'm afraid.
So there was no point in Gears was never going to come to PS3, so yeah, that's that. Okay, next story is that the source code for the original Xbox has been allegedly leaked online. But then also, I think kind of more significantly, it seems that the 3DS source code has also been leaked.
Interesting. I mean, the original Xbox stuff is interesting, because isn't that still an absolute pig to emulate? So that could be useful. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the 3DS, like, people still have those and use those. And
yeah. Well, yeah, because, I mean, so what this was is it seems that this includes the kernel for the operating system for the original console, which was like a custom version of Windows 2000. This is the Xbox One. And apparently this has only been like privately shared amongst enthusiasts, and so it probably won't impact the homebrew scene. But Microsoft is still obviously investigating it. But the 3DS thing's worse though, because it turns out what's been leaked is the entire source code of the 3DS's operating system. And the problem with this is that the Switch OS is based on the 3DS OS.
Really?
Like there is
fucking hell.
Yeah, I'd read that before.
Wow.
Yeah. And so because I mean that's probably not great, because that means people can probably figure things out or whatever, through that. So that's maybe not so good.
Yeah, I mean a potential R4 card for the Switch is really damaging, isn't it?
The thing is, I mean, but obviously they'll do whatever they can to patch the Switch. Would they bother with the 3DS at this point?
Probably. I mean, it's not selling, but
I don't know if patching the Switch is that much of an issue either, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong? Like it's
how do you mean?
Not exactly known for its online stuff. You could easily play that machine in.
That's true, to play it offline
without connecting to the internet, and it won't really affect your life that much.
It would take a new first-party Nintendo release that needed the new firmware to make everyone go, oh, all right then, fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, just think of the idea of buying a £200 Switch Lite and then just never taking it online ever, and then buying like a card with games that you can just download. I mean, I'm not suggesting do that. I'm just saying that sounds like an interesting proposition.
I know, but so many games now require it's not that they require online, but they keep the reason they keep adding stuff is probably partly because of this as well. I mean, imagine if you bought just like a stock version of Animal Crossing, to play on that, and you never updated it, you're never going to get any of the stuff, are you? It'd be rubbish.
Yeah,
to do
I mean,
that.
you'd hope so. You'd hope that this isn't the case and it's not easily modded and or it's easy to sort of patch out, because it is damaging for forgetting Nintendo, but the actual publishers, developers, and stuff. This is
probably
damaging
worse for them, isn't it? Yeah, like at the end of the day, Nintendo stuff shifts no matter how easy it is to pirate it. Whereas, it's the smaller games that people will be sort of curious about. The Game Pass fodder, if you will. People would try out if it was essentially free, but not otherwise. Yeah, like if people are just pirating stuff, that's the stuff that tends to suffer. God, it'd be good for emulation, though. Fuck me. Imagine just
but who needs to emulate the Switch at the moment? You know what I mean?
No, I mean emulating like other consoles on the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like we can get Game Pass on there ourselves. If we put our heads together, we can hack it.
Were you suggesting emulating the Xbox One on the Switch?
Yeah. Okay. If we work hard enough,
cool. Right. Wicked.
Just got to get the code right. Just got to make it efficient.
Exactly, yeah. Just do some codes and that.
Get to play Halo 5.
Yeah.
If anyone knows how to code Game Pass on Switch, let us know.
Joking aside, so say, obviously there were those rumours of, xCloud coming to the Switch. Say that didn't happen, but the Switch was hackable. Someone would get that working. It's just streaming.
What's going on with xCloud? I've not heard that for ages.
It's still in beta. I've still got the Android version.
Yeah, the other day they added loads of other commentaries and stuff to it. Yeah, so they're still testing it.
Have you connect? You can connect to it now? Can you, Sean? If you wanted to play it tonight? Oh, right, okay.
It's good.
Fine. All right.
I mean, as I say, it's good. I need like one of them fucking clips to just like attach a controller to it, because otherwise it's just not really comfortable to use. But yeah, it fucking works.
Cool. All right, then. Okay, next news story.
Okay, this is the last one, and it's not really a news story as such, but I thought it was worth including because I think it's quite interesting. This was a Eurogamer article that was called "The Wild Story of How Assassin's Creed Ended Up with Side Missions," and what it was is this all came about because Assassin's Creed's like fight system AI lead called Charles Randall answered this question on like Twitter, which was like somebody said, "Give me a horror story from your specialty in 5 words or less." And then he just tweeted, the CEO's kid played it, was like the answer. And then so then what it was I'll just go through what he says. He says, okay, so if you've ever played the original Assassin's Creed, you know that there are missions with the targets and there are also a bunch of side activities. What if I told you that those side activities didn't exist in the final submission? So we're all ready to ship the game. First submission goes pretty well, and then the news. The CEO's kid played the game and said it was boring and there was nothing to do in the game. And then he's like, so that's how myself and 4 or 5 other people ended up in the main conference building of Montreal's PEC building, which is normally only accessible with a special door card. And then we had to then spend all this, like, they had 5 days to implement side missions into Assassin's Creed. And he says they did it like bug free, like almost, and how they managed to get through it. But I just thought it was kind of interesting, like how something like that. The stuff like with Assassin's Creed, like they had all those like the side missions in it, and that became part of the template, which other games still copy.
Exactly. And it's that kid earned Ubisoft like billions of dollars.
Turns out that kid was Phil Spencer. Yeah, no, weird one. Funny how things work out, isn't it? Kids say the darndest things. Right, should we get on to what we've been playing this week? Go and read the article on Eurogamer. I feel bad just reading out their article. It sounds a bit rough. But there you go, James.
It's good, though. It's a good one. It's definitely worth reading.
It's a lovely one. Right, should we get on to what we've been playing? Let's start with Matt.
Nice. I've been playing a few things. Animal Crossing, well, that's done. I streamed, obviously, Resi 3 again on Sunday. I'm really, really enjoying it. Massively so, in fact.
Really?
Oh, good, I'm glad, because when it came out, I heard a lot of shit talking about it. Or not that it was shit, but just didn't compare to the Resident Evil 2 remake.
I think, Resi 2 came out, everyone loved it. It's like an update of a classic, and it was brilliant as much as it scared me. And I thought, well, Resi 3, that's gonna be the same. Like, all they're going to do is just do what they did with Resi 2. Do a Resi 3, and so when I saw the reviews, I was like, oh, okay, I was expecting a bit higher, and like reading through, there was a bit of like, oh no, it's very short. The encounters with Nemesis are much more like sort of just key moments rather than a constant presence. And
they're all scripted, aren't they?
Yeah, scripted. So a script sort of scripted moments rather than sort of there constantly.
Yeah.
So like the general sort of dialogue about the game when it got reviewed was pretty bad. Pretty bad is not saying the truth. It just wasn't as good as Resi 2. And this is definitely a different game. It's definitely much more of an action game than Resident Evil 2. It definitely doesn't have the same sort of level of like scares that Resi 2 did. It probably lacks an atmosphere that Resi 2 did so well. But actually, I think the pace has been brilliant. I think it's just a really, really fun game. Arguably, probably more fun than Resident Evil 2. I feel much more powerful, have like more ammo. I've given rocket launch, like grenade launchers much earlier into the game than you would in like Resi 2. Like as I said in last week's show, the knife is indestructible, whereas in Resi 2, after a few swipes, you might damage it, and you got to like get another one and stuff. So it's sort of all built for you to have more fun and do more things. I'm really enjoying it. Like there's obviously. There are bits where I get chased by Nemesis and I don't like it and I scream and it freaks me out. And that has happened on both of the streams so far. There's been some choice clips of me just panicking. But actually, it feels less stressful overall because actually when you see Nemesis, there's this sort of like bullet time mechanic where when it swings with his fists, you can dodge anyway, really, and if you get it just right, you time it just right, sort of you miss his punch, and you have a bullet time thing where if you shoot Mr. Nemesis, then you get a bit more damage to him. And actually, if you shoot him a few times, he's got a weak point on him, then he'll go down, and that gives you more time to explore the area or escape. So actually, seeing him, they are these little sort of cool little sequences, but they also feel a bit like puzzles in a way. There's obviously a lot of like small alleyways. Like, I need to get past him, get through this crowd of zombies, escape, maybe attack him a couple of times, run around the corner. So they're much more action packed than Mr. X in Resi 2, where I was just like scared.
I wonder how much of that is a problem for a horror game. Like, I mean, this is obviously you're enjoying the game. That's all cool. But if you were selling a horror game and you're saying, okay, this is the sequel, it's not scary, you got more opportunities to take down the big bad guy that you're supposed to be scared of, there's less tension. Is that, I suppose some people would see that as a massive negative, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're after the same sort of, horror experience of Resident Evil 2, you're not going to get that. Obviously, for marketing, that they would never say it's less scary, it's more action packed. But I think
of course
everyone knew it was like much more of an action game. I again had never played Resident Evil 3, so I didn't really know what it's going to be like. But I'm loving the pace. I think again, like I said in last week's show, it feels like you're sitting into it almost immediately. The first cutscene, Nemesis is there on you, and he's there in the background, and he's around, and you're in action. It's an action packed game from the first minute. What happened on Sunday, which was awesome, is that I got to I basically got to the police station in Resident Evil 2 because this game happens before the events of Resident Evil 2 and maybe after. I'm not quite sure about timeline, but definitely currently I'm before the events of Resident Evil 2. So loads of really, really cool moments happened. I mean, my memory is shit with all things, and people are like, hey, Matt, do you know that guy is? And I'm like, no, I don't know who. It's like, how do you not remember him from the last game? So there's been a couple of those moments because I'm just an idiot. But I all have remembered lots of other things. It's really cool to see moments where I went into the police station and you meet a cop and you're like, oh, that's that person you see in Resident Evil 2, and he's actually there in Resi 2, or he's like died, or he's done this and that.
I assume that was in the original game, right?
I would assume so, yeah. I don't think that stuff's changed, but it's really cool. Like when I was like in this town, I was like, oh, it's like that's the place from Resident Evil 2, and I was like, okay, that's really cool. I'm seeing this place again. But then when I actually got to the police station, I'm like, oh shit, hang on. So now the cool thing is and there was an amazing sequence. I thought it was an amazing sequence where I got into the police station. I was told to go down into a corridor to get to another part of the police station, and I basically saw like these people that were alive get attacked and killed and die in certain areas that you see those bodies in Resident Evil 2. And I know it's like a really simple thing, and I know it's done in the original, but it's like, oh, this is really cool. I'm getting to basically see how this environment sort of became what it is in Resident Evil 2, but I'm seeing it now happen live. Like, there's one guy who gets basically attacked by like a zombie, and I was like, oh, that's the guy in the corner. It's like I thought that was just really, really cool. And yeah, I think the pace is brilliant. It's much more action packed. I feel much more powerful, which for me, who was scared of Resi 2, is better. You know, I prefer being more powerful than constantly shit scared, but there are still some scares there with Nemesis and whatnot. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving it a lot more than I was worried I would when I read the sort of lukewarmish reviews. And actually, let's be honest, they weren't lukewarm. They were good. It's just that they weren't Resident Evil 2 good. But
I don't know. I saw a lot of disappointment out there. To be fair,
I saw lots like 6, 7s, well 7s and 8s and 6, 7s and 8s, which it's not bad.
What were people disappointed about with it though? Because the original was not the best.
Yeah,
like it really wasn't.
So from what I didn't read a review, but I skimmed. Basically, a lot of people are complaining about it's quite short. A lot of people, some people said it's little as like 5 or 6 hours. And again, same reviews or like threads I saw recently or whatever. People were saying, well, yeah, but the original one was short, so I don't know what you were expecting. Another big point of contention, I believe, is that the game they removed some areas from Resident Evil 3, one of which is, I can't remember what it's called, but basically, apparently one of the areas they removed for this remake is one of the best areas a lot of people loved from the original, but it's just not in this one. So I think people just a bit disappointed. It was short. Also, the sequences with Nemesis are just really scripted rather than the constant menace of Mr. X in Resident Evil 2. So I don't know, but so far I'm really, really enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying more because I'm less scared. But yeah, it's just great action, good set pieces, and it's really amazing actually seeing how the events of Resident Evil 2 sort of happen, but sort of seeing it happen in front of your eyes. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, you have anything else for us?
I started playing Descenders today now, which is a mountain biking game. Now, when Sean talked about Lonely Mountains Downhill a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever it was, I downloaded both that game that Sean praised so heavily, and also Descenders, which I think we discussed on the show. So actually, there was like 2 mountain biking games released in like quick succession. And I played a bit of Lonely Mountains, Sean, and I love the way it looks. I think the style's great. I love the fact it's like very simple, like no music. You're just hearing like the sounds of the bike and on the mountain stuff. But I couldn't really get on with like how it controlled.
Did you try? There's 2 different control modes.
Yeah,
I tried them both, and like because obviously the way to how you view this game is that you see like the camera is not behind the player, the character you're controlling.
It's like an isometric.
Yeah, it's isometric. Yeah. So and there's one control method whereby when you want to go left on the screen, but from the rider's point of view, it's his or her right. You can so I play left. If I want the bike to go right, I will press left based on how it's down the screen. Or you can do it so you have to press a direction that the bike needs to go, even if that feels opposite of the way you're viewing it. Anyway, I tried both of them. I couldn't really go on, but I did do I think I might have gone down a bit of the first mountain, and I wanted to try it more, but I just stopped for what
a bit of the first mountain.
I got down and I was like,
"Fucking hell!"
I don't know. Anyway, basically, I tried it for like half an hour and thought I'm playing something else.
Half an hour is not the bit of the first mountain. These levels are like
2 minutes,
3 minutes long.
Well, anyway, but I fell off loads, and anyway, I played for half an hour, and thought it's fine, but I stopped and played something else. And then today I thought, I downloaded that Descenders game. I'll see what that's like. And actually, I've had a total blast of it. It is very, very different to Lonely Mountains Downhill. This is it feels much more akin to Trials, really. So Descenders, it's a mountain bike game. But unlike the sort of like calm aspect of Downhill, Lonely Mountains Downhill, where it's just you against a mountain, here you can there's sort of objectives to doing it each race, and that will randomize for each it's not a race, it's like a point to point. Well, it's not a race, but you're going point to point basically, and they're like a random objective. So it might be like, hey, do backflips because there's stunts are part of this game. It might be like do 2 backflips, it might be do 2 360s, it might be go for the start to the finish without letting go of the accelerator. So you can bomb it from the start of the area to the end, and you can do stunts as well, or you can just go for time. And it's really, really fun. Like it's really addictive to try and like do a crazy stunt and ultimately crashing. You have like a limited number of bails you can do really. So I think you must start off with like 3 or 4, and after 4 you basically got to start again. And I'm playing the career mode. I can't remember what it's called. And so you start off with I think 4, and you basically have this like big map to get across in terms of different levels. So you'll do one level, we get to the end, and then you have the option of doing like one of 3 other races, and then you'll do one of them, and you're basically plotting a path from the start of this map over to the other side in this map screen. And on that, there are like, if you go to the left race here, there's like a boss. They probably shouldn't use that terminology, but what I mean by boss is there could be like a massive jump which you need to try and land.
There's a big boss, and you just go to it. It's a ramp.
Well, yeah, it is literally that. Like when I was on the map, like there's a boss sign. I was like, oh wow, what the hell is this going to be? And then like the objective in the top right corner said, land the boss ramp. It was a massive ramp over a bridge with like a train going over it. But the thing is, I'm finding the sort of the physics and like the stunt sort of model so addictive that I didn't actually get to finish the boss ramp because I couldn't stop myself from trying to do backflips, and I kept crashing, and ultimately I ended. But but the actual like doing stunts is really fun. Doing like front flips, backflips, 360s, all sorts of stuff is really good. You can just go for speed, and although I said like when you go to like a new race, and when your objective is, don't let go of the accelerator, at first I was like, wow, this is going to be pretty tough. But actually I found that most of the races you can do it without letting go of the accelerator, in all honesty. Even if you go off the course, you can, like, it's not too much of a penalty to do that. You don't really lose much in the way of speed.
What are you playing on?
I'm playing on a game. It's on Game Pass.
Oh, it is on Game Pass. Okay.
And like the sense of speed is really, really good. Like when you aren't letting go of the accelerator and you are bombing it down the hill, it's really excellent. There are like 3 different types of map you can go on. One's obviously very stunt focused. One hasn't got much in the way of stunts, and the other's like just basically like downhill speed. Also, things on the map there's like different types of race you can go into, or not race, but area you can go into, one of which might be like a sponsorship one, so you can choose what type of track you want to go on, and if you want to impress the sponsor, and I believe that's obviously going to help me in terms of my career progression. But I'm finding it excellent so far. Like it does not have the style and the panache and the look of Lonely Mountains Downhill. It definitely feels different in that regard. But I've been loving it. I think the music's a big part of it. It is sort of quite it's basically sort of lo-fi drum and bass, quite euphoric drum and bass, but I think it works really well in terms of like bombing down a mountain and stuff. Yeah, I wanted to play it, Sean, just because it'd be interesting to see how you compared the two. The two are very different, although they're both mountain biking games.
I'll give it a go. I've got it installed.
Yeah, it's excellent.
But yeah, I've not heard brilliant things about it. But yeah, if you enjoy
the fact it came out
so
close to Lonely Mountains or Lonely Mountain, and like I can see how it would compare, not so favourably compared to that. But no, I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. I'm going to keep playing it. I still haven't actually got to the end of a career, and end of this, like basically there's multiple types of track, and I'm still on the first one. Well, not sure what that's called, and then it's like a career for that style of track. And basically, if I played it safe, I could just do it's probably like 5 or 6 races from start to finish to end it. But you have a limited number of bails, and I might have a good couple of races where I don't fall off my bike at all, and I'm like, okay, I've still got like 5 bails and like 3 races to go, but then ultimately I'm like tempted by a big jump, and I'm like, I think I could do double backflip here, and then I crash, and so I still haven't actually finished one of the career modes.
Has it got multiplayer? Like we can play against each other at the same time?
It has something. So basically, when you start off, you're in you do tutorial in this in this sort of like scrapyard or whatever it is, or like there's like a series of ramps and all sorts of stuff. And there are other people with like their online names bobbing around that. And also when I'm doing my just single player campaign, I'm also seeing the ghosts of other people playing, and I'm not sure if that's like live or that's just a ghost time for someone else. But I think it almost certainly does have a multiplayer. It feels like it's quite focused towards that. So we should look into it. I think it's great fun, and just like the idea of like I just keep crashing, but it's actually really fun, the physics model. So yeah, that's the Descenders. I'm a big fan.
Cool,
and also
cool.
I've been playing randomly. I don't know why the other day I started playing Daytona USA.
Daytona.
I think because
what are you playing on?
It's on, so it's backwards compatible, and someone said, "Oh, at the moment on 360, it's like £1.69 or whatever it was." I already had it, but they're like, it's like really cheap. It works on Xbox One. It's like 60 frames a second. I was like, I'll give it a go, and yeah, it's still bloody amazing fun. Even Elodie came up now that had a go. Obviously, she was terrible, but you know. But yeah, I mean, I haven't got a lot to say about Daytona.
Has that got online competition? Like, can you play multiplayer online with that as well?
That has got multiplayer, yeah.
Shit, man, maybe I need to.
I really just like focus on doing that first track, and and eventually like winning, and then I'm now working on the second one. But yeah, it just makes me more sad that all the other Sega races aren't on backwards compatible on Xbox. So why isn't the original Sega Rally on there? Why isn't Max GT, Scud Race? You know, it's just upsetting, but I'm happy that Daytona at least is on there, and the music's still class. It's still amazingly fun to drive. That's
Matt. You probably find those on PlayStation Now. That's the kind of stuff that they have on there. There's loads of
if PlayStation Now has the original Sega Rally, I will be a subscriber. Like because
I would sign up for a month for that, easy.
Yeah, because the original Sega Rally wasn't on 360.
Oh, but it's
they had
stream it, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be able to
Rally
download it and play it.
If it's PS3 game, then it's streaming. PS2 games you can download, and PS4 games you can download.
Oh, you can download PS2 games. I did not know that.
Original Sega Rally obviously wasn't on
marketing that thing well, weren't they? Fucking hell.
Great awareness.
Original Sega Rally obviously wasn't on any of the consoles, but then there was like the other Sega Rally that came out on 360, but that is not backwards compatible with Xbox One.
Yeah,
I don't know if that came out on PS3 or whatever, but I might look into it, because if that's on there, I might buy it, because I was like, I was looking into getting the original Sega Rally, but because it's not backwards compatible, I'm like, well, am I going to buy a 360 to play this, or do I just buy a Saturn and play the original Sega Rally? I really wanted a Sega Rally fix like the other week, and I had no way of playing it. But Daytona's bloody good.
Well, talking of Game Pass games, I've been playing a Game Pass game this week that, I don't know about you, but I've seen this bloody thing advertised everywhere. Like, have you seen this? The golf with your friends?
Yeah, I mean, I saw loads in the run-up to launch, and I was like, guys, all the videos look brilliant. I'm very excited to hear what you think about it.
So this, I've played this probably about 7 to 8 hours this weekend.
Oh wow! Okay.
And during the week, and it is just one of the most frustrating things I think I've ever experienced, simply because the core idea of it is fantastic. Sorry if you didn't catch the title when I mentioned it back then. It's Golf with Your Friends. It's on PS4, Switch, and it's on Game Pass.
Sorry, just before we get into it, right? When I first heard about it, I was like, "Oh, Golf with Friends." No, it's Golf with Your Friends. Do you reckon that's because like
I'm pretty sure there's an iOS game called
series,
Golf with Friends.
I was going to say, I thought I'd seen this knocking about for a while, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Well, it has been knocking around for a while. It's been in like early access on Steam, I think, for a while. But so the idea is that it's crazy golf with extremely crazy holes, and it's a multiplayer game. So you're all, I think it supports up to 8 players. It might even be more than that, you know. But you're all competing on these holes at the same time. Everyone's got like a ghost ball, and you're firing your golf ball, trying to get into the hole as few strokes as possible. And then you wait until everyone's finished, and then you see the scorecard and you're competing. I've played a few times with some mates, and I've played most of the time I've been playing with randoms. You just go to play then it picks a random course and you all plan at the same time.
And what, does it put you against 7 other people? Or you can obviously...
Yeah, it does, yeah. And it's a bit annoying because so many people quit out. Like, the amount of games that end with just, like, 3 people left because someone's fucked up a course and thought, fuck this, and turned it off, and it just takes them out of the scoreboard. Instead of saying, you know, this player quit, and keeping them on that scoreboard, it's really unsatisfying to see. You're, I'm third, oh, that's great. Then you get down to the last couple of holes, it's, I'm bottom, because there's only 3 of us still playing this. Because getting through a whole, like an 18-hole course is actually, it does take quite a while. The thing is, that concept is brilliant, and it's insanely addictive. Like, it's really good fun to do these holes all at the same time as everyone else and constantly monitor where you are on the leaderboards. When you get a hole in one on this, you think, fuck me, I'm going to be higher up here. And that stuff gets extremely addictive. The problem is the game is shit. Like, it's such a fucking mess that it's actually frustrating that this is available. I kid you not, right? Firstly, it's not optimized for anything, right? It looks like I'm playing on an Xbox One X. When I was playing with my mates, I turned around and went, to buy this console, it's still over £300 at the moment. Mm-hmm. And this is what it's kicking out. You know, popping, really low res textures. Just everything looks so jagged, like it could easily. There's better iPhone looking games, you know what I mean? And I know iPhone games look pretty good these days, but I saw an advert for a crazy golf iPhone game the other day, and I was like, "Fuck me, that looks like a billion times better than the game that I'm actually playing." There's things like the music shit. That some of the courses, in fact, actually most of the courses rely on luck rather than skill. But all of that stuff is kind of, you can overlook that shit. Right? If the game is good enough, then fine. If the graphics are crap, then who cares really if you're enjoying the game? Same with the music. You can kind of get over that. It does get a bit irritating. But it's got complete game-breaking shit in it. Like, twice now, I have been midway through an 18-hole course, and my first shot has flown off, like it's hit a bomb or something. The ball's flown off, and it's caught into a bit of scenery, and the game hasn't registered that it's out of bounds. So you just literally sit there. Maybe you can take a putt, but there's no point because it won't go anywhere because it's stuck in this bit of scenery, and there's no way of getting back onto the course that you're on. And it's just like, so that's it now. I'm going to get a massive penalty for not finishing in the time limit. It's going to push me right to the bottom of the standings, and none of that is my fault. That's the game being broken. There's a distinct lack of clarity with where, because when you load up a course, it loads up all the holes, and the amount of times where it isn't clear whether you're supposed to be going for that hole or that hole, like which hole is part of the hole that I'm competing on. Granted, if you go into free cam mode, it puts a little flag over the one that you're aiming for, but when you're midway through a hole or whatever, and you don't want to go into that, maybe you're worried about time, you know, it's just not clear. The amount of times I've tried to hit a ramp to hit the hole, and I finally make that jump, but I realise that that's a hole for another thing that we're competing on later on. You know, it's not the one that I'm currently doing. There's problems with the controls, like the power gauge is just a fucking mess. You know, if it's anything over a quarter, then you might as well just be going full blast. Like, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's really hard to gauge how much power that you're putting into it unless you've been playing for a long time. As I said, like, what you want to do when you see a really crazy hole that you're competing on, you want to be able to press a button, have a zoomed out view of it, or like an overhead view of it, so you can decide which way you're going to go. Because the thing with like crazy golf is that there's usually several different ways to go, and you know, one's more risky but it gets you there in less strokes, stuff like that, right? This one, it says you can press Y. I'm playing on Xbox, and it puts you in free cam mode for 10 seconds. But while you're controlling the camera to position the free cam mode, you're also controlling the ball and stuff. You know, so if you accidentally press A while you're in that free cam mode, it just takes the shot. Like, it doesn't say, okay, you're controlling the free cam, you're not controlling your aim or precision or taking a shot. now. It doesn't do that. It just goes, well, he pressed A, he's shooting. Even though, like, my camera's nowhere near the fucking ball.
That's insane that would be left in. Obviously, they have done tests.
It's horrendous.
Think that's fine, or
because if you press up on the right stick to tilt the camera up, that is also changing the power gauge back where the ball is. Like, it's just hell. It makes zero sense, right? There's also this weird thing that when you do putt. Like, say you putt and you've got to wait a minute and a half for everyone else to finish, yeah, because someone's rubbish or whatever. It says that little free cam mode, instead of saying 10-second limit on it, which I don't understand why there's a limit on it in the first place. Like, you're up against a timer anyway. There's no need for a timer.
I guess that's to try and keep the game speed up.
Well, but it doesn't matter because you're on a timer anyway. It makes no difference. But anyway, once you putt and you're waiting for other people to finish, you can go into free cam mode, and above that, it changes the 10-second limit to unlimited. So you go, oh, cool, so I can have a little look around the scenery, I can have a nice wide shot to see how everyone's getting on. It says it's unlimited, but it doesn't. It's still 10 seconds, and then you just can't use it again after that. And it's like, for fuck, it's just this weird stuff in it that you're like, how has this made it into a game? Like, how is this? It's so weird. And I think all this stuff frustrates more. If it was a shit game that I didn't want to play, then it would be uninstalled by now. But because the core concept is really good fun, it's making me go back to it and just playing it over and over and getting even more frustrated with it. So many of these holes are down to luck. So many of them. You know, there's like, you've taken a shot and there's like loads of different blocks flying across the green or whatever. And you're just like, well, I'm just hitting and hoping, and sometimes I make it through, sometimes I don't.
To be fair, Crazy Golf is that mostly, isn't it? It's not about skill.
Well, yeah, okay, but there's jetpacks.
That can be annoying,
there's several of them where there are little tunnels and all of them lead out to out of bounds areas, but one leads to the flag. So like the first time you're playing it, you're like, okay, I'll try this tunnel. Oh, I'm out of bounds and I'm back here again. I'll try this tunnel then. Oh, I'm out of bounds again. Then I'll try this one. Okay, I'm on the green. Great. I mean, how does that... I don't know, man.
It's just so annoying because
that's annoying, but
the title, Golf with Your Friends, there's not a fucking ounce of fat on that. That's, brilliant. That's, like, it doesn't need to be... Like, it just needs to be competent.
Yeah, you know what I mean? that's the thing. It just needs to be like the millions of like crazy golf games that are out there that work, and it's not.
But on a console with my mates, that would be great. It doesn't need to be that. Doesn't even need to be that special as such. It just needs to be slick, and it's nowhere close.
It'd be nice if it looked good.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If the holes had a lot of imagination that didn't hamper actually what you're doing. There's a lot of like power-ups and shit that are just not explained and you've got to just work out yourself. And some of them, there's jetpacks where you fly the ball, there's where you jump, but it's all so janky that sometimes it just doesn't work and you're done. You know, it's a weird
I guess the trouble with that more than anything is like these aren't, I mean, there are bugs and you mentioned that, but like all that stuff for the camera isn't a bug. That's just how it's been built.
It's just poorly implemented
for whatever reason. So it's not like, oh, it's okay, that's not be fixed. Well, I mean, maybe after public perception,
it could be fixed,
maybe after feedback, yes, they will fix it. But it's not like, oh, can you fix that weird bug in that thing? Yes, we'll do it next patch. This is like, can you rewrite how you've done the game because it's bad?
This is like a £15 game on the other systems. If I'd have paid for this, I'd be furious. And looking at the comments and stuff underneath the ads that are all over Facebook, they're all like people saying I bought this on Switch and it's dead on there. Like, so
really?
You go to play with randoms or whatever, you just can't get a game. Although saying that, I have noticed this because I've seen people streaming this as well. When you go to play online, there's two options, right? It says what it gives you a server region. So on mine it said Europe, and then underneath it says start, right? But if you look at it and you think, okay, start, and I'll join. But if you look to the left of where it says start, it says region detection. So what you do is you go down, you press start, and all that's doing is trying to detect what region is best for you to play in. And then it changes the Europe to whatever the best region is for you.
Right.
And then underneath that, it says press the start button to begin. I did this the first time I played it, the amount of streamers I've seen that have gone, okay, I'm going to play this online with random. So, okay, I hit start. Okay, nothing's happened. I'll hit start again. Okay, it looks like I can't play this online yet. And then they back out and then play it on their own. And it's like, wow. It's just the implementation of pretty much everything like that is just a mess. And I think who knows if they worked on the game well enough. I mean, I think it's built to just play on everything, right? Although it hasn't got... Don't quote me on this, I don't know 100%, but it doesn't appear to have cross-platform play, which is an issue if you're buying it on a system where no one's playing it. But I think if they really did work on this a hell of a lot, I don't know even if that's possible, and they made it look good, they refined the controls and got all that to work, then I could see this being another game that I get completely addicted to and play for years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If the content was constantly updated and all that stuff. But as it is, man, it is shocking. I've not seen a game this shoddy for a long time.
You haven't actually talked about what the actual golf feels like. So, like when
it's putt golf, isn't it? What is there? There's not much to say.
But when that works, and you know what you're doing, and you know, like, is that satisfying? At least,
not really. I mean, because the power gauge is so. You know, you go from tapping to like a drive shot in the space of this power bar. That can be a bit frustrating.
Well, if they haven't got that down, then I don't know. I mean, like, yes, they could fix the camera stuff you mentioned. Yes, I mean, I don't know about graphically, maybe for the reason getting 8 people on it has to be that graphically bad. But but also I will live with poor graphics if the game functions well, and they can fix
if the game feels good, it doesn't feel good. And the other thing is the physics. There's so many ramps and jumps that you need to do in this, but when the physics is slightly off, it's just like, what is the point? I had one where I had a really tight shot around 2 corners to get past, but if I did it, then I'd be right next to the flag. If not, it would have gone straight in. Right, so I lined this shot up. I used the precision aim stuff. I hit A. It went past the first corner, then hit an invisible bit of like scenery or whatever that was sticking out further than the corner. It was completely invisible. It looked like the physical area of the corner was larger than the visual area of the corner, and it just hit that and flew off. And I was like, brilliant. Okay, great. So I've seen this there, and it looks like the game is just such a wreck that there's no accounting for any of that. So there's no accounting for it.
I've had a look. According to Google, so I assume this has been in early access because apparently its initial release date was the 29th of January 2016.
Yeah. I saw a video on YouTube taken 3 years ago playing this game in early access. Yeah.
Did it look better or worse?
So just like the fact that it's still got all these issues, and I'm not saying
4 years in the making.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that console ports are easy or whatever, but fuck, I'd be interested to see if the PC version's any better. Like, is this just issues they've introduced in doing the console ports, or what? I don't know, but
I mean, I kind of want you guys to see it.
Well, I'll try it out of curiosity, if nothing else.
I do, yeah. Even before you said what you felt, like I think for like a few weeks, I'm definitely posted it in our WhatsApp. Like, this could be amazing. We've all loved like everybody's golf and stuff. But 8 players online, how can that not be great?
Yeah,
I still want to play
like
it.
a half decent, no frills golf game with your mates.
Let's do the stream.
Should we stream it anyway? Yeah. Okay, cool.
I want to ask actually.
So you said this is on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
So you've got so if you're like,
I don't know if your Xbox can run it though, James. That's the only problem.
that is a problem.
Too
That's got more than 3
colours.
Xbox. So
yeah. So when you're playing with the other 8 people, when you go to take a shot, does your ball ricochet with the other balls, or do you pass through each other?
No,
like
ghost balls. You just go through them. They're non-existent.
Okay,
probably for the best.
But Harry enjoys watching it. So that's why I've put so much time into it the past couple of...
8 hours, considering all his issues. Like, there must be something there.
I would say, 7 to 8 hours. I've played it a lot. But then each round of 18 takes a good 40 minutes. So yeah,
well, a shame.
Not great.
I've got it downloaded. I'll be meaning to give it a go. I will do.
Yeah.
Concept's brilliant, execution really poor. That about sums it up. Sean?
Hello. Just a few short ones, really. Played a fair bit more Cloudpunk. Nothing major to add other than it's properly growing on me. I know last time I was talking a lot about the voice acting and stuff. It's fine. Like, you get used to it. It's not ideal. Like, obviously, I would rather that it was better. I was thinking about the fact that, like, what made them go for, like, obviously because it's an indie game. What made them decide that every character should be fully voiced? And then I realised it's because, like, a lot of the conversations happen as you're driving around. So obviously, if you were trying to read and drive at the same time, that would be really annoying. So I get it, but it's clear they didn't really have the budget, or, like, a lot of the actors involved might be really good, but they've obviously just had zero direction, right? They've just been stuck in a booth. Here's a script, get on with it. But I'm just, like, I'm enjoying just the flying around the city loads more. Like, I've properly got used to the handling. I've got, like, a load of upgrades for my car now. So I'm just, like, properly, like, flying around all over the place. It's really good fun. The story's getting really interesting. So yeah, I think I'm about 8 hours in. Apparently you can finish it in about 10. So probably have that finished this week. So yeah, still.
Has that first person beta thing launched yet?
Like the other week I was saying it really needs a first person mode, and yeah, it turns out they are adding one. Yeah, so you can, if on Steam, you can sort of enable beta updates, and yeah, that adds it. So I've not tried that yet. So I'm really excited about it.
Is it available on GeForce now?
I don't know. Good question.
Well, GeForce Now, that feels like so long ago.
GeForce
Anything available on GeForce Now anymore.
He's right. He's got it there.
It's coming to console, though, apparently. I didn't realise.
Okay,
so
I'll wait then.
yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that feels Game Pass.
Yeah.
Sounds like a diss, but it's not.
So yeah, still really enjoying that. I've played a bit of Assassin's Creed Odyssey because
who hasn't? Well, the past couple of months, it's crazy. Everyone's tried it a bit.
So it's been talked about. I can't remember if I said. I think we said last week, didn't we? That so there was this deal on the Epic Store that if you downloaded GTA 5 for free, they also gave you a £10 off voucher, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey was on sale. So I got it for £6. I've only put like an hour or two into it, which obviously, for the scale of an Assassin's Creed game is nothing. But yeah, do you know what? It's fine. Like a lot of the earlier Assassin's Creeds just instantly pissed me off. I don't know. I didn't didn't get on with the design mindset behind it all. Whereas this has been absolutely fine. Characters are all quite fun and interesting. The world's absolutely stunning. Obviously, everyone knows that. It's quite, I've only done one. It seems like you can basically not play it like an assassin. Like all the abilities, there's like a whole tree of assassin abilities and then a load of just straight up melee combat ones. So it seems like you can just fucking murder your way around the place if you really want to. But yeah, like I've done a couple of missions where it's like, oh, actually that was, so, say you're going into a huge estate and you're stealing something, sort of getting in and out and then realising I didn't even see half of it. But it's like, oh yeah, shit, so that probably means there's loads of other ways I could have done that, and that's quite interesting and cool. Not that I'll be replaying any of it, but yeah, just nice. It's really nice. And I've had a quick look at I forget the proper term for it, but basically the history tour mode.
Oh my God, have you seen that stuff?
Fuck, it's so good.
I mean, I watched a brief YouTube video to see how they present that stuff.
So I literally did only 5-10 minutes, but I was really impressed.
The YouTube video was 8 hours long.
Fuck me.
So, it's not a gimmick, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is it.
Put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, so you're walking around like as a character from the game, and and there's loads of people. Just civilians sort of milling about. But yeah, basically there's little bits you can run up to and trigger, and it's like actual historians and museum guides doing all the dialogue and stuff and explaining what's going on and what you can see around you and stuff. It's fucking fascinating.
I'd love to, there's part of me, if I haven't got the time, but the idea of doing that tour and like really taking it all in, then playing the game. It just sounds incredible.
Yeah, that sounds
because I was a bit like, I don't know what I want to do first, because I feel like doing the tour first and then playing the game might spoil moments from the game, maybe?
No way. I think it's more interesting to know the history of the place as you're going through it.
Yeah.
That's got to be really interesting, right?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
The problem is, who's going to put 8 hours into 8 hours into an Assassin's Creed game before you start an Assassin's Creed game?
But and considering the game's already massive. So I'm happy I've got it. I'm probably just going to dip in and out. I don't think it's going to be something I obsess over, but it's just a nice place to be. Nice world to be in for a little bit, especially since you can't fucking go outside. The last one is...
Hold on, before you move on, did you find it funny how there's an option, because obviously there's horse riding in this one, and it's funny how there's an option to just press a button. At least even with Red Dead, you're controlling it a bit during the automatic moments. With this one, it's like press a button and just watch him walk there. Yeah,
I quite like that, though, because it reminded me of, like, Witcher 3, where I spent 90% of the time just looking at the mini-map rather than actually taking the world in. And I like the fact that, when you first start playing, it's like, basically it says like how guided do you want this to be, because everything's been designed so that people will say like, oh, it's to the south of this town, or oh, follow this road and go this way or whatever, and you can just do that without there being a big fucking icon going go here. So that's quite cool.
I've heard a lot of people that I know that have played this week, they were like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And then within an hour,
turned it off. Okay.
No, I don't want to do this.
Interesting. Glad I've got it. It'd be nice to just have that on the, bit on the side. I streamed Disaster Report 4 again last week, and I am not going to bother continuing for a number of reasons.
It's over.
So one, it's just been fucking dry. There's been exciting bits, for every sort of 2.5 hour stream, there's been the odd sort of exciting or funny bit, but there's like some areas have just been a fucking slog, and it just feels like really artificial padding. So like you're in an area and it's like, oh, something's happened, we need to figure out who did this, like someone's committed a crime, let's find out, and then you have to, it's just, there's no logical thread to any of it. So I've just started using a walkthrough because it's just not fun. It's just been me running around. Who the fuck do I talk to? I don't know. This is bollocks. And I'm not, like when James was getting pissed off at LA Noire, that was funny. But this just felt boring. And never mind,
I will say, Sean, it wasn't boring.
Do you reckon?
No, it wasn't boring. I mean, I know you're getting frustrated, and yes, you might think, hey, this isn't exciting like other streams and stuff, but no, it wasn't boring. It was still really insane to watch, but I could see it's frustrating, and it was just wank. Like, and I said this before about the older, like Raw Danger is, yes, it's very low budget, but it's very keen not to piss you off. Like everything kind of makes sense and works, and like, it looks kind of like shit, but it's but it's considerate of your time. Whereas this just feels like it's artificially padding stuff out at every step now. And then so at the end of the stream, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to just have a quick scan through the walkthrough, see what's left, because I really want to get it wrapped up, because I'm just not enjoying it at all now. And in reading what happens in the final chapters, there's some really cool and quite funny stuff, like everything gets like pretty ridiculous, but there's also some absolutely horrific stuff that like the game's had like bits of tragedy in it, right? Like obviously it's set during a natural disaster, during an earthquake, and like people have died and stuff. And at times it's sort of like a bit silly with the tragedy of it, whereas other times you're just like, oh, that was actually really horrible. Thinking particularly of the bit where the woman with her baby and a young child, just like they're just in a block of flats that just fucking collapses beneath the ocean as you leave. And combined with the fact the game is often quite funny and gives you all these opportunities to just be a complete dick, that was already quite awkward.
But then, finding so some of the stuff that happens in the final chapters is just horrible. And it's not, I'm not saying games can't touch upon, difficult themes, but fuck me, this isn't the game to do it.
Are you just not convinced that they can do it in a good way?
Basically, because as I say, there's already been these sort of fairly bad tragedies, and I'm just like, oh shit, I'm streaming this game because it's quite funny, and I say there's all these weird dialogue options and stuff, and you can just kind of be an idiot. So to then suddenly go, it's serious now, actually, it's just like, no, it doesn't work, it doesn't earn it. So yeah, basically, I mean, no specific spoilers, but in the final chapters, there's basically stuff about suicide and sexual assault and stuff. And it's just like, nah, fuck this, I'm not doing it. It's like, you're not Life is Strange. Do you know what I mean? It's doesn't feel.
You're not Detroit Become Human, are you?
Yeah. Well, I think even that, it's just awkward to stream stuff like that.
Well, exactly.
It's
even if it was
your
handled
little
well,
face in the bottom left-hand corner watching it.
Like and subscribe, guys. It's just not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for the subscription, Shy. There. It doesn't really.
So I just I wasn't particularly enjoying it anyway, and after finding out some of the latest stuff in it, no thanks, not keen. I mean, if anyone's played it to the end and wants to insist that actually it's handled really well, fine, maybe I'll play it in my own time, but I don't think I'm comfortable streaming it either way. So bin that off.
Good.
But this week, I mean, obviously by the time you hear this, it'd be too late. But I'm going to start streaming The Saboteur.
Why have you chosen this game?
What's happened?
Because I really...
Speaking of tasteful stuff, this was the game where you had to pay extra to see the girls' boobs?
Well, this is the thing. I don't think that was the case, was it? I think there was...
He has paid extra. He's got the deluxe edition.
Well, this was in the era of EA, basically, to try and battle... Second,
it's absurd. The pre-owned stuff.
Yeah, the pre-owned stuff. They were like, you
don't get to see the boobs.
Yeah, there's you can use strip clubs as a hiding place from the Nazis. No, basically, I remember it being really stupid and kind of funny, kind of intentionally, but also sort of not. And you get to batter Nazis in it, so I just think it'll be quite good fun for a bit. Also, the main character is me.
I don't think it'll hold up well.
No, I think you're probably right. I think I'm sort of expecting that to be part of the fun.
I bought it for, that was in a period where a lot of people would cling on to not the non-AAA games and hold them up
sort of B tier,
as if they were classics and we were all idiots because we never played it. So I saw it on sale. This was probably about 2 or 3 years after it came out, and I thought, you know what? Everyone says this is excellent. I'll play this. And it did some interesting stuff at the start, but then about midway through, I was like, oh, God. I don't think I can be bothered anymore.
Yeah,
so
I am expecting some mildly problematic stuff. But yeah, let's see how we go. I just think it'll be fun for a bit. I probably won't even finish it. I just think it'll be fun for a bit, but we'll see.
So you would have actually
the good news
streamed
is, Sean, that eventually EA crumbled and they just included the nipples in for free.
Oh, did they?
So yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, they got that.
Really?
Oh, I'll need to find out if I can turn that off because I'll get us banned from Twitch if I'm not careful.
Yeah, good.
So by the time you hear this, Sean, you would have streamed this last night, wouldn't you? By the time you hear this, so
yeah.
So the first video of Sean's stream will be up on our YouTube channel now. So.
Yeah, mate.
What's our YouTube channel now?
Well, just search for TCGS on YouTube, but it's /TCGS Co.
TCGS Co.
Yeah, mate.
Is the one to slash there. Right, okay, cool. Is that it?
That's it for me, yeah.
James Farley, he plays games all of the day. Tell us about them.
Okay. I played 2 things this week. One thing I played this afternoon, actually, because it's bank holiday.
Nice.
And that was
Okay.
Iron Man VR. Yeah. I played that because they had the demo came out.
Oh, shit. I thought this was not happening for a while. Have I completely made that up?
The game had been delayed heavily.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been delayed, but then it's been, they released the demo today. And this is developed by Camouflage, who did Republic, which I never played.
It's Ryan Payton, and who obviously worked on Metal Gear before, and he set up his own studio.
But yeah,
any good?
Iron Man or Republic?
No, but Iron Man.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it actually.
All right, cool. What else
it works. Do you want me to continue or not?
I don't know, really. Go on, Go on, what'd you do? Fly about on that, dear?
Yeah, you fly about. I mean, use the move controllers obviously as your hands, and it's. I mean, you know how Iron Man works in that he uses your hands to fly around and stuff or shoot things out of them, and obviously it works quite well with the PlayStation VR. But then also, I mean, the other thing that works quite well is it's got the combination of the Iron Man UI that you've seen in the films and stuff works quite well with the headset, obviously, because you're putting that on and it feels like it's enclosed around your head, which works
that's pretty cool.
well. And yeah, it's quite good. I quite enjoyed it. I mean, what the demo offers you two things. You get a tutorial thing where you do time trials where you've got to fly through things and stuff and shoot stuff, and then you go through an actual mission, which I don't think it's a full thing, but it's part of it where you're on a plane that then gets attacked and you have to jump out of it and then shoot things down and stuff. And it's fine. It was really nice.
Does it feel like a game or an experience?
If it does feel more like an experience, honestly.
Feels really scripted and all that sort of stuff.
Very, very, very scripted. And but it still feels like it works very, because obviously with PSVR you can't really move around a lot, it's not like room scale VR or whatever. But with this, because of the fact that you're mostly moving just by directing the move controllers, by tilting them in different directions to change the angle of your flight, it works quite well because of that. Although when I played it, I did lock the room, lock the door on the room because I didn't want people coming in because I realised that I'd look absolutely ridiculous. Because you have to spend quite a lot of the time when you're flying, putting your arms behind your back and stuff like that, and it looks stupid.
I've got to see that.
Yeah.
When are you going to start streaming VR stuff, but where we can actually see you while you're doing it? That's what I want.
Never. Absolutely never. That would never happen. I mean, it's annoying because I have to always shut the door when I'm doing this because otherwise the kids, if it's during the day, the kids just come in and just start taking the piss. It's honestly they do, and I know that they're doing it.
Respect.
I know they're doing it as well because you can see it in the corner of your eye, and it's I can see them dancing around and mocking me and stuff, and it's just I'm not having this. Just go away. I'm going to shut the door and play this. But but it's good. I mean, it's for free. It's worth a download if you've got PSVR and give it a go. I mean, I think I didn't play the Spider-Man demo that came out.
That was that was rough.
Spider-Man one. Yeah, I heard it wasn't good, but this was much better. I think this feels like it fits the platform quite well.
I think
and as an experience,
Spider-Man was just a bit of a promotional tool, wasn't it?
Yeah,
whereas
that
obviously
was
this
just
is a demo for an actual
VR thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, for free, it's worth having a look.
Does this make you more excited to play the full game, or
not particularly? Because I'm not a massive fan of Iron Man. It's not really something that I'm really into. But it does feel like it fits this very well, and it looks alright. If it's cheap, maybe I'll pick it up later, but I wouldn't be a day one purchase for it. But yeah,
cool.
It's not bad.
Alright, what else you been playing?
The other thing I played this week is Horizon Zero Dawn. So I've been playing this for about, how long? Probably about a week or so, maybe even longer than that. I've actually finished it.
What? No way!
I know.
Smash through that.
I know, because it's I mean, it's crazy, right? Because I mean, I've done a mat. I've smashed it over the last couple of days because just playing it in the evening and stuff like that for ridiculously too long. And I mean, to be fair, I did mainline the whole thing. I did about 2 or 3 side missions, but mostly just stuck to the main story. And I finished it in. I looked at the clock. It was about 22 hours. It took me to finish it. It was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be because how usually with those massive open world games you're thinking, oh, this is going to be 40 or 50 hours or whatever, and that is what put me off initially playing it because I was just thinking I don't really want to get into something like that at the moment. But when I decided to just sort of mainline it, it became a lot less sort of daunting to get through. And I mean, who's played it here? Because I know Dave, you've played it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
No. I can't remember where I got to. I know that I got way far into it before I realised that I was supposed to see one of those giraffe ones really early on.
Yeah,
I walked I basically got to the other side of the map doing story stuff. And then I went, I really want to see one of those giraffe ones. And then I looked it up and it was like right at the start. It was like, yeah, turn right here and do the giraffe one. And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, so I then travelled all the way back because did I have fast travel? I don't think so.
See that? Yeah, the fast travel in this game is really annoying.
Yeah,
the way it works.
It's not easy, if I remember correctly, is it, to just fast travel to places?
No, what they do is that, like, the tall necks, it's just like in Assassin's Creed. I don't know if they're still like this, but they were when I played it, and also Breath of the Wild, where you have like structures in these massive like giant like robots that are like walking around.
That's
that
right.
You get to the top.
They actually are the fast travel points, aren't they?
Yeah. No, they what they do is once you climb to the top of one of those, it unlocks like the map.
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Yeah.
You can see everything like on the map, and you get like that dizzying array of just like millions of icons
That's right,
after you've done that, which is quite annoying. And you can, I switched them off like as soon as I could because it's just crazy. You like open it up, and it's like I can't even see the map for just all these icons, which is kind of crazy.
But each activity was pretty fun, if I remember correctly. Like clearing the bases and stuff was actually pretty good.
That's the thing, because like even climbing the tall necks, you see what I did when I played it. I played it on easy as well, which is probably another reason why I got through it quite quickly. That
sounds all right though.
Because
I'd be If I was to go back to it, I'd definitely just stick it on easy and smash through it.
Yeah, because I started playing it on normal, and I was like, yeah, this is bearable, but it's also a bit irritating. Because the combat is fun, but it's not that fun that you'd really feel like I absolutely have to master this. I can't, I can't get through it.
I think there's definitely scope to be like that. The problem is,
definitely,
there's a lot of waiting around. Like when you're in combat, there's a lot of hide and wait for the right moment, and that just becomes a little bit tiresome, doesn't it?
And that's the problem, because then, like, when you do something and if it doesn't come off and it, like, ends up being a disaster, you're like, I don't know if I can be bothered. To keep doing this over and over again. Because, the way the combat works is great, because it is, like, you scan, like, the robots that you're fighting, and then you, like, identify weak points. And that's one of the things that's pretty cool. Like, you're selecting the right weapon, particularly, like, with the fire stuff. I really like that, how you, like, select a fire at like a weak point, and then it'll catch fire. And sometimes you don't even have to like keep hitting the thing. You can just wait for it to like explode on its own, because it's like got a fire inside it, from what you've done to it, which is pretty good. But with the fast traveling, the way it works is that you unlock like fire, like campfires that are around, and you can fast travel from campfire to campfire. But you can't do it like just completely. You have to like buy these items or craft items that allow you to fast travel.
That's right.
Which is quite irritating at the beginning, because you can't like go from place to place, and also because there is a lot of combat in this. Like if you're just traveling from place to place, definitely you're going to get caught up in a lot of combat, which is okay, but it does get a bit tedious from time to time. Later on, I did find that you could get like this golden like fast travel thing, which got rid of that requirement, so you can just do it whenever you want, and it was that made it a lot more enjoyable. But the actual stuff like climbing the tall necks to like unlock the map, I enjoyed that because each one. Yeah, and each one is kind of like different enough as well. Like the challenge is different enough to make it like interesting to go through. And also, like you said, like even like clearing out bandit camps and stuff was fun.
Yeah,
when
you see a tall neck for the first time, it's a proper moment, and it's just the scale of it. You're like, fuck yeah! And then when you work out that you can climb them, it's like, oh my god, this is just fantastic. And I remember the upgrades being really good as well. The first time you upgrade where you can hack them and ride them, that was like it's like playing a game for ages and then getting a vehicle. It's like fucking hell. That was such a cool moment, that.
And like with the skill upgrade system as well, like one of the first things I tried to go for was the thing where like you can just sort of like summon like something like to come to you, like to that you want to hack, that you've hacked already, so that you can always have like a horse or whatever to like ride around on and stuff like that, which was really good. And
mine was all combat focused. I remember the first one that I unlocked was the slow motion one, because I was just like the amount of times I was getting charged and didn't get out of the way quick enough. I thought there's one where it goes into slow motion when you pull your bow out or something, doesn't it? That just made hitting them in the eyes so much easier.
You can do that, and then you can get other ones where you can like notch extra arrows as well. Like as you're like, so you get the time to like draw your string, and then like notch like maybe 3 arrows, and then it fires like all 3 at the same time. and stuff like that. And that stuff is all brilliant, and it looks amazing as well. I mean, I'm sure this. I mean, obviously everyone says this about it, but it looks absolutely stunning. It's one of the best looking games I think on PS4 that I've played through, and which is great. I mean, how did you feel about the story? Because I thought it started out quite weakly, but then I did quite get into it.
I thought the story, the actual plot was quite weak at the start, but the world setting, like the world building at the start, was fantastic. So although the plot was pretty much, I found this thing, and what is it? And it's a bit like, okay, but actually the world building up who runs that world, because I mean, if you remember correctly, there was a lot of a certain side of the internet complaining that this was a world run by women, like it's all about mothers.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, I know. It's all about mothers, and they are the important characters within these tribes and everything. And I remember there being a lot of complaints by that, but I remember playing it just going, that's I didn't even consider that. I just saw the council, but
it felt like it totally worked towards that. I didn't even know that was a problem.
Yeah, and what was great, what I liked about it
wasn't. It's like you say, it's just certain dickheads, isn't it?
What I liked about it is that in the opening 2 hours of it, it explained what the tribe was, and it showed why people appreciated the tribe so much, but also showed their flaws. And so it was like introducing a completely new society to you, showing the good side of it and showing the bad side of it in the space of 2 hours. It did it perfectly, I thought. So although you understood the need to try and be part of this tribe, you also saw the need to get the fuck away from them and sort some other shit out. So yeah, I mean, I really, although the plot wasn't grabbing me as much, but the world building really was.
But then, I mean, as the game goes on, I felt the plot did start to grab me, because, I mean, it's the usual thing of, we've heard the story many, many times, that, robots taking over and all this kind of thing. But I felt it did have quite a nice take on it, and the way that way it plays out it was really quite interesting. I mean, that's why I played it like late into the night, and just kept playing, because I did want to see where the story was going to go. I mean, the only thing that I had a problem with it, really, that I didn't like so much was, I know this came out, was it just before, wasn't it, Breath of the Wild, I think?
It was around the same time.
It was around, a few weeks.
Because I remember at the time, quite a lot of people had started this or whatever, and then they kind of bounced off it because Breath of the Wild came out and just started playing that instead. Didn't you do that, Matt?
Well, I that was the first game I tried after Breath of the Wild, and I did I don't know how long, but obviously incredibly short amount of time. I was like, no, sod this, I can't do it. I got as far as seeing one of those long necks, and then I stopped.
And I can completely understand why, because after you played Breath of the Wild, the main thing that I had a problem with this was the traversal in this game, and the climbing and everything. Because if you think of Breath of the Wild, one of the best things about that was the way that pretty much anything you could climb, couldn't you? You could just, any sort of surface you could climb, and it gave this amazing sense of freedom that you had from that. Whereas this, you don't have that so much. I felt like I was running up against invisible walls a lot of the time, and when you're trying to scale mountains or whatever, it's very sort of Uncharted, in that there are the designated places where you can climb, and it just doesn't feel as sort of free, really, as I think from Breath of the Wild at all. And I think that was a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it really put me off, but overall, it's definitely on my list. I do want to go back to, just because so many people have said so many good things, and obviously there's discussion about sequels and it being a franchise on PS5, so I do mean to go back to it. But you would recommend it, James, would you, regardless of what I thought?
Absolutely, and I'd recommend just bump it down to easy or whatever, and just play through it like that.
It makes the crafting a hell of a lot easier. I was coming into a lot of moments where I was like, I need all this shit, so now I've got to run around picking up stuff, and that just felt like a chore after the first, couple of hours. And I think there are perks that make that a little bit easier, like you pick up double the amount or whatever, but even then, it was just the idea of just running around picking up things from leaves and shit was... I hope they tone that down for the next one.
But overall, very enjoyable. I mean, this is why of all the... Because I've played a lot of the Sony exclusive games of this generation now, and this is definitely one of the better ones. It's
for sure.
It's really very good. Yeah. I mean, Oh yeah, I was just thinking about another thing that I didn't like about it as well was you remember like Killzone? Like, I talked about how I'd started that a few weeks ago and how I wasn't that sold on it really. And I think one of the reasons for that was that I felt like the performances in that were all kind of a bit sort of wooden. And this felt a bit in the same way as well. Like the main character is very good.
Yeah, I remember the main... I can't remember. There was something about the voice acting that was off.
Yeah, the voice acting isn't very good, I think, in quite a lot of it. And it feels very... It does feel very sort of stagey, like in places, which is disappointing. It's it doesn't feel, like the acting doesn't come across quite so well. But overall, good.
Cool. Before we move on to emails and stuff, I should mention that very, very briefly that we did buy Just Dance 2020 in the end. And fuck me, how has that not got the worst reputation in gaming? I've never played a game that feels more like a demo before in my whole entire life. It is unskippable adverts for their premium service.
Jesus.
Yeah, just, hey, you've completed this song. Well done. Why not try this song? Okay, I'll try that song. No, this is on our premium service. Okay.
Fuckers.
What? Buy it. All right, I've just bought it. Like, I can't believe they sell that at full price. It's mad.
Ubisoft are generally not too bad for this shit. They're
not really good with this stuff. This one is mental. It really is. So we signed up for the trial, and it feels like the game it's supposed to be now. But I'm not going to be paying £6 a month or whatever they're asking for it.
But you say that, but then me and Eddie have only played that Superstar, whatever, like the campaign mode is, and I don't remember seeing an advert. Maybe I did, but I don't remember. But
maybe it's not in that campaign mode. But we've just been selecting songs, and that's it's pretty shocking. I mean, don't get me wrong, that premium service is brilliant. There are so many songs that it adds to it, but the fact that it's so heavily weighted. I mean, when you look at the list of games that are actually in it, and then you look at Just Dance Unlimited, the list of games that gets added for this monthly subscription, I mean, it's like, well, it looks like you've given me a bit of the game there. It looks like I've paid £60 for a bit of the game. And don't get me wrong, I bought it in the sale. It was only 25 quid. But even so, then, just wow. Jesus. Wow. Still, fun to dance. Right. Okay, let's get on to emails because this is getting late.
If you want to email us, send an email to podcast@thecomputergameshow.com, which is still the address until we tell you otherwise. Lee Griggs says, I love Sean's phrase, virtual tourism, last week. Made me realise the reason why I've gone back to Dishonored 2 recently is to capture the beautiful sights and sounds of the game's environments that are currently lacking from my lockdown life. I was just wondering if any of you guys have been seeking solace in any more scenic games as a result of the lockdown. I mean, obviously, the Assassin's Creed Odyssey stuff, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Animal Crossing is that, it's a picturesque little place you can control, so I think that's why a big I mean scenic. I mean, there's obviously lots of different definitions of the word scenic.
I mean, Dishonored 2's a weird choice. It's a beautiful game, but the world is not.
No, it's not stunning though, is it? It's not like that's not one of the main things with the games, is it?
Well, it's just like the world itself is quite grim.
It's really.
I think, So it's a strange place to go on holiday, Lee. Graham McKay says, "Hi there. I love your Game of the Year show." Oh no,
I don't get to answer that one. Okay, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought it. Should I keep it pacey?
No, but I will say, I think along the same lines. I do think that's part of the reason why I keep playing FIFA.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be because it ain't because of the game. Yeah. But I'm just miss football so much.
Yeah.
And watching this Bundesliga stuff, Matt, is doing nothing for me. It just shows
it's like a version of football, but it's not football, is it? I mean, like we need the fans. We need
It just goes to show you how important fans are to football. It's just such an integral part of it.
We're back in 3 weeks.
Right.
Back in 3 weeks.
Yeah, all right, yeah. I'll talk about whatever. Okay.
Graham McKay says, I love your Game of the Year show. It's going to be...
Thank you, end of the email.
It's going to be one of these.
Read that start again.
I love your Game of the Year show.
Okay, go. Now continue with the email, because we all know what's coming.
But in the way that you love that one friend while also knowing they could do better. Been listening since the beginning and my incredulity rises every year while listening to the Game of the Year show. Last year pushed me over the edge and made me determined to write in at about this time. Life is Strange 2, Christ on a bike. My proposal...
I'm with you there, Graham. High five.
Betty hasn't played it.
My proposal, you check in with each other about now and find out what is looking likely to be on each other's Game of the Year list. You then make an effort to at least play some of the games you haven't, and you then do the same in September. The TCGS Game of the Year show is a great the computer game show, Game of the Year show is a great concept.
Yes, get it right, Graham.
It deserves better from you all. And to preempt Dave's snide retort, fuck up, Dave. Yours, Graham.
Fair play. My snide retort is we've created something you love. Respect that. All right, don't try and change it. Just respect the fact that we've created something that you said that you love. Don't try and change it. We know what we're doing. I mean, honestly, also, when are we supposed to play all these games, mate?
Well,
what do you want to do? Do you want to set us a timetable?
This is it. I mean, I think we've mostly played a lot of the same stuff so far.
Well, that's the thing. I'd love to know what the answers are, just because what's come out. I mean,
what has come out this year that you can even consider? I think I've got a rolling list. Let me just check my notes.
I've got a list about games I finished. Like this time last year, I'd finished like 4 times the amount of games. This year, it's hardly anything. I mean, right now, I guess I can look at my list, but like the big games I've loved are obviously Half-Life Alyx. Yep. No one else is going to really play. And Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've only finished 5 games. Stories Untold on Switch. That's fine. Black Mesa on PC was fantastic. Half-Life Alyx. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Deliver Us the Moon. 5 games. It's crazy.
Not a lot.
I mean, this time last year, so much more.
I mean, the only one I've really loved so far this year that none of you have played is probably Huntdown. I would properly recommend that. But I mean, other than that, there's nothing that I'm like, guys, this is going to be on the fucking list and none of you have touched it. Like, I don't know. I just don't see that happening yet this year.
It is difficult, isn't it? I'm just looking. I've got everything I played this year it was stuff from last year. I've played virtually
nothing from this year. I mean, there hasn't been a lot, I guess. But this time last year, I'd finished 9 games at this point. There just hasn't really been much. I mean, but I think Final Fantasy VII should definitely be in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, Half-Life Alyx definitely as well, but it's not going to go far because Sean's played a bit and the other 2 haven't. So.
I mean, I can certainly...
we need to go out and spend about £1,000 to play it. You know what I mean?
I could certainly argue in favour of Alex. I would support you in that, but obviously,
fantastic, Sean.
I've
That's
only
what I
played,
like to hear. Thank you for your support.
That's all right. Not played a huge amount of it. I mean...
Yeah,
Animal Crossing's on the list.
Oh, fuck! Yeah, I've got on my list because
obviously... fucking win as long as I'm here, I'll tell you that.
The point is, we've all played that. We've all...
And the thing about Animal Crossing is, well, obviously there are other games like Last of Us and stuff coming, but Animal Crossing... I wish we save these discussions.
Yes, save it. I'm looking through my notes now. I haven't got a list of new games that I've played this week. I should probably set that up. But I have found a note that just says, James naming his Animal Crossing town, Matt playing Sekiro off stream. That's one. No idea what that's about.
That list of things you're going to bollock us about.
Probably. I've also got another one that says, intro. There once was a man in a hurry. Which I can only assume was a start of a limerick about Matt that I just fell off of.
What was a man called Murray?
Complete.
Fuck. I can't think of what rhymes with Murray. Oh, yeah, he was in a hurry.
Who completed games in a hurry.
He skipped all the cutscenes. No, what the fuck rhymes with cutscenes?
No, yeah, well, you fucked yourself already.
I was like, come on, let's workship it. Come on, guys. No, it's just not.
He likes to eat an orange. Oh, fuck. I mean, just leave it to us, mate. Leave it to us, boy.
Maria Mendieta says, "Dear TCGS crew," it's actually the computer game show crew.
Okay, right. No, but we are TCGS crew because it's us. It's like, I think that's fine. Look,
but not on the podcast.
Hang on. Are we not TCGS.co crew?
No, that's just a domain, James.
Dear the computer game show crew, brought to you by TCGS Co.
It's just TCGS.
Last week's excellent conversation about terraforming and terrain in Animal Crossing made me think about traversal in other games. If you had the wall running ability from Titanfall, which place in the UK would offer the best traversal challenge? Alternatively, if you can't think of any, here's an alternative question for you. Where would you like to see Dr. Farley, the TCGS platformer expert in residence, give parkour a go?
Oh God, that would be
I'd love to be able
unbelievable.
to do parkour. I'd absolutely love it.
You'd love
'Cause
what?
I love all that stuff. I'd love to be able to do parkour. I'd
James,
absolutely love it.
Oh my
But I'm
James,
God, I'd love
there's-
to watch you do it.
Okay, well,
There's no way I
when
could do it.
lockdown
I'm
ends,
too-
James,
there's no way I'm-
we'll find a professional. We'll video you doing some lessons.
Yeah, I can do slow-mo on my phone, James. It'll look great.
Yes.
Mate, if Matt
would
Hancock
involve-
can do it, you can do it, James.
Come on, it'd involve pain.
Yeah,
and like,
probably.
just things
Oh my
going
God,
wrong.
James, we need to do this. Okay, even if it's just like a day of like some parkour training and us videoing that.
Honestly, I'd be up for that. I'd really
Brilliant.
be up
Okay,
for that
right.
because I love it.
We're going to do this. That video will be unbelievable.
The thing is, this will be months of like us all being really supportive, and then it'd be like, oh, brilliant, it's fallen over. Like,
Well, exactly.
Film
It's
it.
all about the falling over. That's what the video's about, Sean.
Also, we want to avoid getting any sort of fines of doing this through lockdown, we should just go to Durham. Do it in Durham. And that's going to be the answer to my
New politics,
question.
please.
The best place to do parkour, Durham, because you ain't going to get in any shit.
It's fine. You could do anything. It's just you just trust your instinct, and you can do it. It's my instinct to go out and do parkour.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
any good father would want to do parkour.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What I like to do is parkour to test my eyesight. Right, let's get on to the
Oh,
next.
political. Ooh,
That's it for the emails.
satire.
Cool, tweets.
If you want to tweet us, is that TCGS Co on Twitter.
Hey.
MD Kraboffs has tweeted in. I'm very happy he's done that. Or so they've done that. I think it's a he, but we'll say they. I have been sending questions for the pod each week for a while now. Many of these questions came from a website of the best 101 questions to ask on a first date. Now would be a good time to reveal the blind date style summary of everyone's answers, but I haven't kept notes. So my question is, I mean, come on, MD Quibuffs, go back, listen to every pod,
Yeah,
and
come on.
write down some answers and give us like a sort of synopsis.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah. Anyway, his question is, what would be your blind date sales pitch? Example, will it be the scorpion-eating doctor with no hobbies?
Why is he? Oh yeah, he does eat scorpions.
Yeah.
That's right.
Shit, I don't know what mine would be. It's one of the nice things.
What do you mean sales pitch though? I don't quite get
Well,
it.
it's because
What are you
it's like so.
asking?
Cilla Black does like a very brief summary of you, doesn't she? Yeah.
Well, it's Al Graham, isn't it? Like Al Graham to tell us about them, and then I mean, this
Oh,
is
shit,
going
yeah,
back
sorry.
a lot of times. Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh, it'd just be. He's a bit of a dick. Dave
That's not a
Turner's.
sales pitch.
That's pretty much it, isn't it? He's a bit of a dick, but a heart of gold. That's what it is. You know what I mean? He'll go. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Look at him. And then secretly go, mate. You know I was only mucking
No,
about.
basically,
You know, mate,
all
is
right.
everything all right?
No, for Dave. For Dave, it'd be more like along the lines of this loudmouth Cockney. We'll say Cockney just for the sake of it. This loudmouth Cockney's been making mistakes, but let's hope you won't be sorry when you take him home. It's that sort of stuff, isn't it?
Nice, Matt. Nice. For you, it'd be this backstabbing prick will take you home. That's what it'd be.
Not quite got the same ring, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
I don't even know, mate. You see, one of the nice
Absolute
things
scum.
about being in a long-term relationship is just not having to think about any of this shit ever again.
I know. Yeah, just like you can. Yeah, I know this is bad to say, right? But you know, when I was single, I was very much one of those people that would talk to a girl and go, "Oh my god, does she like me? I hope she likes me." You know,
Yeah.
and now you just like you just don't.
Don't
You know
matter.
what I
It'd be
mean?
easier
It's
if she
like,
didn't.
okay.
Actually, thanks. Just don't.
Yeah. It's just not a thing in your head anymore. That stuff rolling through my head, I can't go back there. I can't go back there.
I mean, I mean, for the sake of it, as far as any normal person's concerned, I'm just an off-the-shelf nerd, aren't I? Like, oh look, he's bald and has a bit of a rubbish beard and wears glasses and he's slightly overweight and he likes science fiction and computer games and eats too many biscuits. Do you want to date him?
This is too
No.
long.
Sean, are you
This is
describing
too long.
you
Yeah,
or me?
exactly.
Yeah, you are, Sean.
Thank you.
James. James would be Doctor Love.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. This Yeah. Okay. This professor from Canterbury. Yeah.
Hell.
He knows the inside of propaganda, but is he the love doctor for you? Is that sort of shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Will he cause a revolution in your love life?
Oh, here we go.
Speaking of revolution, no, because it doesn't work. But he also does breakdancing.
Certainly does.
And parkour.
Parkour now.
This
He's been
parkour
training up in
professor
parkour.
be the love doctor for you.
I'd love to jump across a building.
I think it'd be
Fucking
brilliant.
hell, James, that's waited on for the episode title.
Can we film your first attempt from
the
the
Matrix.
ground and from the roof?
See, I used to be pretty flexible, and I was quite good at this sort of stuff. In fact,
Don't say that
did
again,
I ever
James.
tell you what happened when Chen was over here one
Okay,
time?
we've heard,
before
we
got
want to hear
married?
this. We've heard enough, James. It's not for the
I got locked out the house, and I had to climb up the wall
Spider-Man.
and get in, and I did it, and she filmed me doing it and laughed a
Oh
lot.
my god, has she got the video still?
Why didn't she open the door?
No, she couldn't. She was outside as well.
Fine. I had an image of her like
inside
just
the house
filming you
laughing
from
at you.
inside the house, just going "fuck you." I
But we had to do it like quick because my car keys were indoors, and I had to take her back to the airport. It was the pressure was on, and yeah,
Right, well, has
What
she
a
still got that
hero.
video, James, or what?
probably, but I don't know.
Brilliant.
She's got to send it to us.
Well, I'm
She's
messaging her
got to
tonight.
send
I'm
it to us.
messaging her later.
So hang on. So
There's
how
photos,
did you do it? What was the route?
Well, I got a wheelie bin,
Okay.
and I put a wheelie bin and
Just like
up
the movies.
against, like the house, and then what it was because the house is like it's like a converted bungalow.
Okay.
So like I got onto the roof and then climbed through the window that was in the upper floor. And it was fine. My arse looks massive in the picture.
Excellent.
But it's,
let's
it was fine.
get that on socials, baby.
Yeah, mate.
New.
TCGS
that on
cool.
Tom Durbin at Kaliko Spack on Twitter. As fans of the Super Mario games, what are your thoughts on the 1945 original?
I
Was
don't
that was the
don't
joke
get this
because I said
joke.
it was the 75th anniversary.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Good one. Good one.
He is a gag man. Gnosis 80s on Twitter. What's that one game you eventually have to go back and complete because the idea of dying without it done is just too much to handle?
I've not got that.
I was going to say, I
I've
don't think
not
I've got
got that
any.
in me. I'm very comfortable with just going, nah, you're all right. The only game that, as we've said before, that something like that stuck down in my head is getting all agility orbs in Crackdown. But then I fucking went and did it, didn't I?
Second time of
You
asking.
can die now.
Second time of asking.
Yeah.
So I got that last orbs. And it was it's pretty good. Matt, you got an answer?
I mean,
Mario,
even
Odyssey?
though I played the game with the game mechanics, it has to be redoing all Dark Souls because I had to summon for Odyssey and Smoke.
How can that
that's
be
fine.
above
Which kind of
Mario Odyssey?
Well, I guess the Fire and the Moon challenge as well. I mean, there's lots of things.
Yeah. That's got to be your next stream, Matt.
Because
the
when
500
Sean
moon
did it on
challenge.
stream, it looked way. It basically, it was the only bit. It was like that wall with like the bits. But Sean did it in like 4 or 5 goes. I was like, okay, well, I can.
Did you complete it on your stream? Sean?
I didn't know. I kept fucking up the bit with the bird with the beak. and
Oh,
you
but I
start
love that
moving.
bit.
That is the worst bit, but it's plain sailing from there. And once you do it, it feels so good.
Yeah, the only bit I
I
struggled
should
was
try
that
again.
bloody the bit where the blocks push you into lava. I was like, fuck this, and I just did a back.
that bit's easy, Matt. That's just a memory game.
Well, it just annoyed me.
Okay.
Yeah, I should buy that game again. Try that.
The first time I did that, though, I didn't know. Obviously, you get to that wall, you don't really know what to do, and you have to throw your hat on the scarecrow. I left Yoshi in the shit position, like in the position at the start of where the wall comes out. So I throw my hat on there, and the block just push Yoshi into the lava. And
Yeah,
it really
I
did look like
accidentally
Mario.
murdered Yoshi quite a lot.
Serves him right.
It made me laugh.
I want to ask the question, even though I don't even know what it's about. Andy Godwin at Big Copman on Twitter. The headset companion is criminally underused considering how many versions of Sony's own headset there have been. Just a handful of games available. What other apps and devices do you think were poorly supported but were great ideas? What's the headset
fuck is that?
companion?
Is this the app on the
See,
PS4?
I just looked that up. Yeah, there's an app that you download. It only works with like the official PlayStation headsets or whatever. but it adds like extra sound features or whatever for games like that have been selected
I've
for it.
got a headset that does all that. I tinkered with it once and never again. Like it's just
what stuff does it do then? I mean, what stuff does your one do, Dave?
Mine's got like movie mode, equalizers,
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Is that the right way?
because that stuff always does my head in. If they're a good pair of headphones and the game's been, if the audio production's good, you shouldn't have to touch a fucking thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I get why people want to make it specific if they're into that audio that much, but it's not for me, that sort of stuff.
The only time I ever use that is when I put football mode on the TV. Because it makes the crowd sound louder and stuff, and
mine's got that, but it's really not that. It changes the colour.
I was going to say, I thought that was mainly a visual thing.
The colours will ever show after that, but I do like it. I think the crowd sounds better at least. But
I mean, I know some tellies have like a game mode, which is all about reducing latency, isn't it, for audio and visuals? Yeah, but it like removes like all the like visual processing. I do like some of that.
Well, no, but basically, what you got to do, at least for the Samsung I've got, like turn that on because that does reduce all latency. But then you basically will go in and configure loads of stuff, which I've also done, like as per whatever Digital Foundry or whatever said, which does make sense. Okay. It doesn't really bother me anymore because I basically never play games downstairs. I mean, basically my consoles are up here permanently now with like the streaming set up on the PC, and I'm like, I haven't played a game in 4K in months. It kind of makes me think.
Really,
let me guess, it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, of course. But I'm like, I just think, I could have. Games probably look great, and I'm not even. I'm best I'm seeing them is like 1440p, which is still good, but yeah.
But I suppose I'm different because I don't have an Xbox One X. I've only got a PS4 Pro, which, let's face it, is nowhere near fucking 4K. Like I've tried when I upgraded my PC, I tried a few games in 4K. They didn't run brilliantly, but you can see the difference between that and what the PS4 Pro thinks is 4K. So yeah, my PS4 Pro, I just have it set to 1080p now. Fuck it.
Oh, really?
I'd rather have the extra frames, mate.
Wow.
Loves those frames. He loves them.
Simon Meredith at that Simon person. Do you ever go through a period where you're certain you want to play a game, but you can't seem to settle on anything? If so, how do you get through it? I keep putting something on, I need to turn it on after 5 minutes, and I feel like it's like I feel worried to be able to be playing something else. I mean, at the moment, I think a lot of us are sort of going through the same thing whereby it's easy just to go to like comfort games. And so I think, okay, I want to play something new. I'm like, but also like, do I have the energy to play something new at the moment? I mean, obviously when the big games, I'll sort of certainly going through and play them. But right now I'm like, Animal Crossing keeps me happy and I know what I'm doing, and like David with FIFA and so on and so forth. It's like, and at the moment, I think right now what we're going through, we'll all try and deal with it in different ways. And I think it's hard to like concentrate on, loads of new things. I think, I mean, that's just me speaking, but yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's I didn't mention it on what you've been playing, but of course I've put another fucking 10 hours into Animal Crossing this week. It just doesn't even need saying now. It's just
it's the same.
It's medicinal.
I'd say that I'm finding that as well, but it's weird. Like that South Park game, I've been playing it in 15-minute chunks. I don't know why. I boot it up for 15 minutes and then I do a couple of battles and then go, okay, I'm going to play something else now. Nothing to do with the game, because for those 15 minutes, I'm having a whale of a time. Like, it's so funny. It is so good. But for some reason, I play it for 15 minutes, then switch off and go and do something else. But yeah, no, I'm sort of in this weird state where I'm playing Animal Crossing and FIFA. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the games that I'm really putting a lot of time into. So yeah, weird. When I was looking at my notes on my phone, I come across this as well, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
I will say the HDR when you're in a town at night is fucking tremendous.
Still got it on there.
It's a classic. It's a classic, and then I mean you'll notice
cars by Snow Patrol.
You'll notice during the PS4 Pro chat, talked about 4K, didn't mention HDR because I cannot.
Yeah, it's impossible now.
Because that will continue to haunt me. I'm just never giving any opinion on HDR until I die.
It's a shame because that's arguably a bigger impact than 4K, but now you cannot mention it.
We get asked a lot, what is your favourite moment of the computer game show? I don't know if that is, but that's hilarious, right? That was hilarious how you were praising the HDR in the game, and literally just after the podcast come out, the developers come out and said, yeah, we haven't really put HDR into Red Dead.
It could be better.
And it's not even like it was... Like, as soon as you turn it off and you're just like, oh shit, this is loads better. Like, it was...
That's
you know,
right, yeah.
It wasn't even like, oh, you know, they'd spoofed it, but actually it was still kind of good. It's like, no, it looks awful with the HDR on, the way they initially implemented it. Yeah, there you go.
Good one. Right, socials, Matt. This will be interesting.
So this Friday, James is streaming Dreams Friday night at 9 o'clock. I mean, I didn't watch James. I didn't watch your stream live on Friday, but I watched it later, or maybe Friday night or Saturday. But it was brilliant. I'm really excited to see you play more Dreams. I know it's just. I think it's still really impressive. All those games. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really enjoying it. There's been, I mean, that Witchy Woods one was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need a sequel for that. Definitely.
It was the sound.
So James plays a bunch of random Dreams creations, and there was talk in the last stream of James starting to build his own. James, you should absolutely start doing that. That'd be brilliant.
It takes fucking ages though.
Well, so but okay. That's Friday night at 9 PM, and I'm streaming Resident Evil 3 Sunday night at 8 PM, and on Tuesday Sean is streaming The Saboteur.
Yeah, mate.
Tuesday nights from 9 PM. That's all on Twitch. You can search for TCGS Co on Twitch. And if you're Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime. We're on patreon.com/TCGS. We, the other day, we did our talks over for the month. We talked over loads of old gaming TV adverts. That was really great fun. Do that live now. So if you're $10 and above Patreon, you get to watch us live and interact as we record that. And then non-patrons can watch it a month later. And you can go TCGS.co, which is a website, and we're TCGS Co on everything now. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. We're now TCGS. That's it. The rebrand's done.
Except for the podcast, which is the computer game show.
Yeah, that's
presented by the TCGS company.
TCGS
I mean, I didn't use
yeah.
that language, but yeah, like this is our flagship podcast, the computer game show, but we are
flagship one. Okay,
but we are TCGS. It is that's done. There's no confusion there. It's TCGS.
Absolutely
okay.
zero.
I disagree, and I think we'll get a few tweets.
How can you possibly be confused?
Thanks for living it. We'll catch you next week on the computer game show / the TCGS Co.
Company and Sons.
Bye, everyone.
No.
Goodbye. Fuck the lawyer.